acho que era de
Estás a inventar cenas para falar.
Estou a inventar merdas
Ok.
mesmo só por causa. Olha, tenho cuidado com a cabeça aí nessa coisa ao lado.
Obrigado, só para não apanhar
Sim,
tétano.
ok.
Quando tu quiseres é agora?
É agora, para mim
Hey, welcome to the Bastercast number 2. This is the second podcast we've done of these Bastercast sessions. I'm Antonio. I'm here with Bruno.
Welcome people.
Welcome, people.
Well.
So, in case you haven't heard the first one, please go back and listen to the first podcast we did. It wasn't that long ago, and it should be very easy to find. We talked about a lot of stuff, and this is how we do it. We each have one topic that we want to discuss. I don't know what Bruno's topic is. Bruno doesn't know what my topic is. And at the end, we have a bonus topic for all you freaks out there eager for more knowledge. And here we go. So, who starts today?
Today I will start, okay?
All right. Ding, ding, ding. Here we go.
What makes a good horror movie for you? I mean, elements of the movie. For example, things that you like in the horror movie. Why are you staring at me there like that?
So we're starting light, people.
Yeah.
We're starting with a light question. What do we like about horror movies?
I can tell you
Go ahead.
right now something that I really enjoy in horror movies: isolation.
Isolation.
Exactly. For example, in zombie movies, it's not the eating flesh of the element of the movie that I like. It's that thing that you're trapped somewhere, and they're outside the door, and you cannot do anything. That thing I really love.
So,
for example, in The Thing,
yeah,
those guys were in, I don't remember, North Pole,
I think so.
Greenland, I don't know, and they were isolated. Completely isolated from the rest of the world. That's one thing I really enjoy.
Yeah, I see what you mean. Even Dawn of the Dead, Zack Snyder's Dawn of the Dead. What happens is they're isolated inside that mall.
Inside the shopping mall, yes.
Even I think that's a remake, right? So the first one was George Romero.
Yes.
And they were also trapped inside. Even Night of the Living Dead. So there's a big.
It's a cabin, I think.
Yeah, it's a cabin in the Night of the Living Dead. So yeah, isolation, very good. Well, you just touch upon one of the things that I like. This is not necessarily about horror movies, but isolation is one of the main sources of conflict that I like. For example, even when the hero has to face the villain and they're both trapped in the same place and they have to face each other. And that's the whole scene or the whole movie. Need I remind everyone of the big fight between Darth Vader and Luke Skywalker in Return of the Jedi? Yes. So that's what happens. They're both inside this one small space. Hero versus the main villain, the greatest villain he'll ever face, his own father. And but this is bringing it back to, let's bring it back to horror movies. Yes, isolation is a good one. I have to think about that one though. I agree with you when you say that it's not about the gore. It's not about the.
I like gore. Not totally, but a bit of gore, yes. But for me, that's not the main thing on a zombie movie, for example.
No, it has to be supported by the narrative. Yeah, definitely. Well, if it's just gore, then it's gratuitous. I remember this.
What, Hostel?
What?
What? Hostel?
Hostel, yes. Hostel, yes. That's a very good. That's a very good idea. They're isolated.
No. Yes. Well, okay. I was talking about the gratuitous
the gratuitous violence.
Yeah, exactly. For me, that's not the kind of isolation I was talking about.
Oh, so you mean people? So the heroes are isolated in somewhere where they cannot get out of.
Yes.
And the threat is right outside, either waiting for them or looking for a way in.
Yes.
Okay, I see what you mean. Yeah.
Yeah, you see what I mean, because we were writing a story about that.
Oh yeah. So for those who just joined us, and if you're not a Bastercaster yet, I am a film director and writer and actor, and Bruno is a film composer and sound engineer, but mainly a film composer. And we both have our own production companies and creative platforms, and we've done a lot of work before. This is decades of work. I'm not about to tell you everything that we've done, but we've done a lot of horror, and so this is a sweet spot for us to be discussing this today. Okay, check us out everywhere. We'll leave the links below. But again, going back to the isolation, yes, this is something that I love about any movie that dips a little bit into horror, and when the threat is coming and you cannot leave.
Yes.
There are a lot of movies that talk about this. I can't bring one up from the top of my head, but a lot of movies have scenes that do this, and to me, it's one of the most effective ways of showing the hero's true vulnerabilities?
Evil Dead, for example.
Oh yeah, Evil Dead. Evil Dead, definitely.
Actually, that's a good example. But isn't there a part of the movie where it's already inside? The evil itself, it's already inside in the basement.
Yeah, in the basement. Yeah. But that's a good example because you see what happens. So the beginning of the movie, spoilers if you haven't watched it. The beginning of the movie, there's a woman running through the woods, and she is basically being stalked by plant life.
Yeah.
Or something that's commanding plant
that's
life.
in the beginning of the movie?
That's the beginning of the movie. And so she is raped by a tree. Yeah. And then we cut the story. The narrative flows, and we see this group of friends that go into a cabin in the woods. And these are the same woods where there's evil about. And they're trying to fend off evil. I mean, when they realize that there's something out there, they know that they're trapped, but then evil finds its way inside. So that's interesting. But the thing about that movie, and this is why it's such a good example, is the space of isolation keeps getting smaller and smaller because at first it's just outside. They have the whole cabin, and then one of them gets infected or possessed, and then they have to lock him in a room, so you can't go to that room anymore, and then you have to lock another one in the basement, so the basement's out of reach. And so it keeps getting smaller and smaller, and that's, I think, one of the best things about the first Alien.
Oh yeah.
Is that it's not that you see this space. I mean, they don't start right from the bat. They don't start just isolating themselves in smaller and smaller compartments. What happens is they don't know where the threat is coming from. So they isolate themselves in these rooms so they can discuss, they can make plans on how to survive. But because you don't know where the threat is coming from, you don't know where the alien is, the whole ship that used to be huge is now a very tight space. You can feel the claustrophobia even though it's a big place.
Yeah, sometimes it's right on the other side of the wall.
Yeah.
So, and you have that ominous and imminent feeling of, well, the alien can just appear inside, in front of you or inside you.
Yeah.
For that matter.
Yeah. So that's a pretty good question. I think I have to go with you on that one. I think isolation is also one of my one of the things that I love the most about horror movies.
I have to ask you. I've never seen. It's not Cabin Fever. It's The Cabin, I think. It's,
The Cabin in the Woods.
The Cabin in the Woods. Yeah.
Oh,
I've never seen that movie, but does it have that?
I haven't watched it, but it's on my list though. Okay. I haven't watched it, but I think it's pretty out there. I think it has all the elements of a really good horror movie. From what I gather, I haven't seen it, but I think it has the elements of a really good horror movie. But it's a little outside the box from what I gather.
Okay.
I think it's not a conventional horror movie. But here's one that I just remembered. One of my favorite horror movies of all time. And I'm sorry if you don't like this one, but if you don't, please leave. Please leave right now. No, I'm kidding. It's the first and to me the only Blair Witch Project. So here we go. This is not necessarily a movie where they are confined to one place. They have the entire woods to roam, right? They are not confined. Literally, they are not confined to one place. Yes. However, again, in the same case as Alien, they don't know where the threat is coming from, when it's coming from, when it's coming. So the woods keep getting smaller and smaller because you're in there with them and you don't know where to go. Yeah. Because you don't know where you're gonna die. And here's it just reminded me, I thought about this one because it reminded me of an element that I absolutely love, and it gets to me every time when it's well done. You know where the villain, the conflict, whatever it is, you know where the threat is, you know where it is. Yes. And for some reason, you have to go there. I love that. But it has to be a really well thought out reason, so that we can buy the idea that if we were in the hero's shoes, we would probably have to do the same, even though inside we would be screaming at ourselves, "Go away, run away, get the hell out of there." but I love that element when the hero has to go into the place where evil lies, where the threat is. I love that. And then the Blair Witch Project, spoilers again. By the way, I'm not going to keep saying spoilers again. If you haven't watched these movies 30 years later, then I'm sorry. It's not my fault at this point. Anyway, when at the end when they decide that they have to confront whatever's in that little house in the woods,
Yeah.
and they decide that they have to go there, that's a freaky moment for me. It's really, really intense because you even when I have the soundtrack, it's with me at all times. Well, a lot of times, and there's one song in particular, I can't remember the name of it, but it starts with the moment when they are screaming through the woods.
Yes.
Because there are three of them, right? So
Yes.
one has been caught, they don't know where he is, and then they hear this one friend that they haven't seen, they hear him screaming somewhere in the woods where there's this house, this abandoned house. And the other two, they decide we need to save him, so they start running, and they're screaming, and they're just hearing their friends scream. And at a certain point, one of the main characters, the girl, she starts screaming, what is that? What the hell is that? And she hasn't even reached her destination.
Yes.
So it keeps getting, evil is growing, and she's still going in that direction because she wants to save her friend. And I'm getting goosebumps just talking about it, because the whole scene inside that house when they discover the little kid's hands on the walls and everything, the other and the second friend, the one who was with her, the one that hadn't gotten lost or taken, he is acting really strange. So the girl has the camera. This is a found footage kind of movie. So she has the camera on her shoulder, and she's filming everything. And her friend, the one that is supposed to be her only sane company, he starts acting really strange and running up and down the stairs, and so she is freaking the hell out because not only she didn't know what to do before, and now she's really lost. And I'm not going to spoil the end for you, but watch that scene. So long story short, yes, isolation is good, but having to go into isolation with the threat, I think is equally strong, and it gets me every time.
Yes. Do you remember the name of that movie where a group of women go into the...
Oh, Descent.
Descent, yes.
Right, the one
that's
another
kind
spelunking.
I
love that word, spelunking.
That's another kind of isolation that I like in the movies, and I love that movie.
Oh yeah,
that's I think that's the second one or something like that. But talking about Blair Witch.
Yeah, I think that there's a second one, but don't leave that topic yet. Did we watch it together? I don't think we did.
No.
Descent.
No.
So what was your experience like?
Well, I wasn't expecting much, really, because of my take on nowadays horror movies, But I was
So it's not
very
that good.
pleased. No, but then afterwards I was very, very pleased.
Mm-hmm.
As I was how was it?
I think it's
with It Follows, for example.
Oh, It Follows. Yeah.
Wonderful movie.
Yeah.
Not about isolation, but that has another
element to it. It's not. It's one of those movies where I would say it's not perfect. It's not perfect.
No,
It
it's
Follows
not
is not perfect, but it does such a great job at portraying a universe where that could actually happen. And the director had the good fortune of exploring other items, it's like an alternate present in some respects. There are little hints to that we are in an alternate present.
Yeah, I wasn't aware of that when I saw the movie. You told me.
Yeah, exactly. Because I noticed, I started suspecting something when I saw one of the main characters open one of those mirrors, those makeup mirrors that women keep in their bags. So she just opened the mirror and she was reading something out of it, like, as if you were looking at your smartphone and scrolling. Yeah. So I thought that's an ingenious. And then little hints like that. I assumed that it was just an aesthetic thing, but no, actually, I think I heard the director either read or heard him say that he was trying to portray an alternate present. That's a really good movie too. Yeah. The Descent, though, I went to watch the movie. in that way that I love, which is I knew absolutely nothing.
Yeah.
I didn't even have a clue that this movie was.
You didn't see the trailer.
Nothing.
Well.
Here's what happened. At the time, I had this film goers card. I think you can call it that. It was it's one of those loyalty cards that the movie theaters give you, so you go back to them.
I do remember that in Lisbon.
In Lisbon, yes, that was the King card.
King card, yeah.
And I paid. Get this, people. I used to pay 11 euros. That's in dollars. I think I don't know. Maybe at the time it would have been $15. We're talking 2005, so it's not a lot of money still. Yeah, 2006. No, maybe 6.
Oh well, big difference.
Maybe 6. No, well, I changed colleges at that point, so maybe it was 6. But yeah, I remember. And here's the kicker. The thing is, with that card, you could watch as many movies as you wanted. You only had one limit. You couldn't watch more than 2 per day. So, needless to say, my university was right, around the corner. So if I missed a class, or if the teacher didn't come, or if I had, a gap of some sort in my schedule, I would just go to the movies. And this is one of those situations. I just walked up. I looked at the poster. It was a skull, backlit, and the skull was made of bodies of women lying down.
Yeah.
And these women are the main characters. And I thought, this is amazing. But, like you, I went in not knowing anything about the movie. I didn't even know that it existed. So I just went in, and like you, I kind of, it's practically free, so I'm just going to have some popcorn and enjoy my time. I'm not expecting a good movie. Needless to say, I walked out, and I was immediately a huge fan of that. It's a great movie.
It's a great movie.
And then, again, it touches on isolation, and a specific type of isolation. They didn't run for shelter. They were just, they weren't running away. They were doing something they enjoyed. So they were completely at ease and vulnerable and, just enjoying themselves. And then it does, what it does? I think it did something that From Dusk Till Dawn did really well. Dusk Till Dawn, it's different, but the gimmick, the trick is the same. From Dusk Till Dawn did it a little later in the movie.
How so?
But The Descent did it a little earlier, which is the narrative is going in one direction, and it just goes a 180.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
So, From Dusk Till Dawn, what Tarantino brilliantly did is we're watching a heist film.
Yeah.
Well, not a heist film, but maybe a thriller, a crime film, and then it just goes a 180 towards vampire and horror. Homage. Yeah. And this kind of does the same, but not as stylistically, but in the plot. You think you're going in one direction. This is. The first, I think, 20 minutes, 30 minutes of the movie, you think it's a drama and it's a coming of age movie, and then it just goes a 180 towards complete horror, and it's one of the best horror moments of my life. I loved it.
Did you get a kind of Ridley Scott's Alien vibe
in that film?
Yeah.
Oh, definitely. Yeah.
So did I, yes.
Yeah, definitely. It doesn't have the element of sci-fi, which we both love, and we will get into it later.
Yes. Okay.
Yeah. So he doesn't know what my topic is, but I do. It doesn't have the sci-fi element like Aliens, but if you could say that those caves are the Nostromo.
Yes.
The only difference again being that there wouldn't have been just one alien. It would have been many, but they're not as all powerful as the alien seemed to be.
Okay, but who's the intruder there?
Exactly.
Exactly.
You could say the same about Alien. Who's the intruder?
Not in the spaceship. Not in Nostromo. Nostromo is from Earth, I think, and it's a human ship. And the intruder is the alien, but not in the caves.
But they intruded on the alien's territory first.
Well, they did, yeah.
So but this is a good question. This is probably a really good question for another topic, or maybe we can just go at it. Who is the intruder in these situations? You look at Alien, so it's like the chicken and the egg. So not quite, but they went into the alien's territory, and the alien just went into theirs. Yeah. And then it's like, hey, motherfucker, I'm here. So we either talk this out, or there's going to be shit to pay. But it's a good question though. In going back to The Descent, who's the intruder?
For me, it's us.
The women.
Yeah,
them.
women. Them, yeah, but as humans.
The humans. Wasn't there something in the plot that said that the whatever was inside they were humans at one point?
I don't remember, but
Well, they are humanoid, at least.
They are humanoid, yes.
But the first... do you remember the first moment where they appeared?
That I do.
Oh, man. It was so masterfully done. Kudos to the director. I can't remember the director's name, though. Can you look it up? Oh, yes, we have a fact-checking machine now. Some people call it a computer, but nah, it's a fact-checking machine. And we're just checking that.
I'll see this... Neil Marshall.
Neil Marshall, good.
Yes,
So I'm going to be looking into that.
You know, you do know, but what I hate in horror movies.
Well, I know a lot of things that we hate.
One element specifically that I really hate.
We both do. We hate jump scares. We fucking hate jump scares.
We don't need any jump scare.
No, not at all. I mean, there are types of movies that kind of live off of it, but it's kind of painful.
I do not see them.
Me neither. But it's kind of painful to put them in the same room as other horror films, right?
Yeah,
it's even painful to see.
You can have one jump scare in a brilliant movie.
All right, so this is a new rule for all you horror filmmakers out there. Yeah. One jump scare.
Yeah, one. But to make a movie, just living of it, it's I get tired just seeing it.
You know what it is?
The noise and that's nothing. That's not horror.
That's not horror. That's not nothing.
That's just pain in the ears.
You know what jump scares are?
But
they're
an easy getaway.
Extreme workout for your inner ear. That's what it is, because it's you know what it is, and then the gimmick is always the same. Someone is walking down a hall, all the sounds go down, and then you see what you just did there? What I just did there? That was a jump scare. That's probably better than most movies' jump scares. Thank you. Yes, we were wearing headphones for those of you who are not.
Thank you very much.
Watching us. But yeah, I fucking hate jump scares because, like you, it's not a craft to use jump scare. No. This is not what I want to say. What I say is it's not a show of you being a master of horror. You're not showing anything. Yeah. Anything that you should be proud of when you use a jump scare. We're not a couple of pussies that don't like to be frightened. Quite the opposite. We love to be frightened.
Yes.
But frightened is not the same as being momentarily scared by a loud noise. That is absolute. It doesn't speak to the narrative. It doesn't tell me anything about the hero's journey. It doesn't tell me anything about the villain. And most times it's the fucking cat. So please kill that fucking cat. And I love animals. Don't go out killing cats. If you do, I'm going to hunt you down and kill you myself. But the movie cat, just don't use that fucking cat anymore. It's stupid. That's it.
No, it's too much. Yeah.
It's not even too. You know what it is? It's not too much. It's too little.
No,
they're not. I know what you mean. It's too much because it's overused. But I'm saying it's just so little. It's so small. It's so insignificant. It's fucking idiotic and ludicrous. And stop fucking doing it.
I don't remember if it uses jump scares.
Not jump scares. It uses something different. It uses quick build-ups.
No. I do know that, but I was trying to remember if there's at least one jump scare in the movie, and the thing is, if there is at least one, it passes. It's okay.
Yeah, you don't
because
remember
the movie it's really good. But what you're saying, for me, it's one of the most important things in that movie. Mm-hmm. That thing when you, the camera, are looking at the one of the characters, and you see the bad thing coming from I don't know, the end of the corridor, or I don't know, whatever,
from the other side of the landscape.
Yeah, but you're seeing it.
Yeah.
And it's coming, and it might come really slowly or even fast. I don't know. It's incredible.
You know what it is? There's a you know what it is. Of course you do. But it's I refrain from calling it a gimmick. I don't like to use the word gimmick because it's like downplaying the whole thing. And this is a really hard thing to do well. But when you make the audience believe that they know something that the characters don't, and if it's something threatening, that puts you in a place where you want to help them. And if you don't, that means you just don't have empathy and you're probably a sociopath. So, but if you empathize with the people on screen and you see that something's coming from behind and they're just going from, through, just going over their chores and their daily business, and you see the threat coming from behind, you do, but the character doesn't, and that's what It Follows does so well.
And they spend time doing it.
They don't rush it. They don't rush it.
The scene.
Not at all, actually. They don't really don't rush it.
And again, spoilers, but do you remember that scene where it's everything okay inside the house, and suddenly she opens the door of the room to let another character go in, and
something else comes out,
and something else
exactly.
But there's no
expecting it,
and it's not, they don't build it to be a jump scare.
No, they don't. It's all about,
it appears, and we get all fucked up just by seeing it, but that's not a jump scare,
No, yeah.
And it's incredible.
It has all to do with camera work and blocking. You know blocking? We don't use this word in Portugal, but
no, I know.
You know blocking. Okay, so it has to do. For those of you who don't know blocking, basically it's going through the motions of the scene. Every scene, before you shoot it, you do this procedure where you go with the actors and you go over the entire scene so they know where they're going, what their intention is, where they're coming from, and where in the space they are, and so that the camera knows how to shoot them and where the camera is. But basically, you're just setting things around the scene and determining, I don't know, setting what is the intention of each thing in that scene, basically, and how they move through the scene. So that's blocking, and it has to do, what you're just describing, it has to do with camera work and blocking. It's so well done.
Yes.
You are not expecting it, but what they do most of the time, and I would say probably 90% of the time in horror films, is that you have seen those blocks, you've seen those things, you've seen those motions so many times before, you know it's coming. So you're either putting a little more effort into it and just working the scene for what the scene has to say to the story, not for the sake of a jump scare in the audience, for people to just throw popcorn everywhere. Just build it through the story, and that's what It Follows does really well. And I think The Descent does really well, and the Blair Witch Project does really well, and of course Alien, from picking up on those that we've discussed today.
Other movies as well. But
here's a question though.
Yeah.
What was a really bad horror movie that you watched, and why was it bad?
Oh, for fuck's sake!
I know there are many.
Okay. How was the name? What was the name of that fucking disgrace? I don't know if it was a horror movie, but I think so.
Do you remember the plot?
Yes, I do remember the plot. Yeah.
Was there a plot?
Unfortunately, kind of. I talked to you about this. I think
probably. We talk about a lot.
I expected a little bit of therapy with you talking about this movie. It's not called Nosferatu. Nosferatu is a really good movie. It's a guy, I think, or a girl that makes a pact with the devil, and it's I don't remember. This is from the early 2000s.
Early 2000s.
It's a really terrible movie.
A girl makes a pact.
No, I think it's a guy that makes a pact. Then there's a girl that blows up.
A girl that blows up.
Yeah. Fuck. What was the name of that movie? Okay, one movie that you really hate. Think it's badly done. While I do some research.
Okay, sure. Well, there are a lot of bad horror movies, but I'll tell you one that it was marketed as a horror movie. I don't see it. The Nun.
I saw it.
The Nun has horror moments. It doesn't mean
you did see it with me, right?
I don't know if I watched it with you. I don't know. We go to the movies a lot, so sometimes
I'm
sorry.
I think we saw that movie together.
Together, probably. It's disgraceful.
No, but it could build up to something good.
Yeah, it could have been.
Or at least something average.
And that's why it's so frustrating, because it could have been really good. The first scene is not all bad. It's not, it's okay. You've been there. It's nothing new, but okay. It has to, okay. So it's trying to contextualize the whole story. Okay, I'll buy it. Fine. It has some good moments, but it's silly. If you go and watch. Here's a shout out to CinemaSins. They do really great work when they're analyzing films, and well, sometimes they're just taking the piss. But go and watch what they did with The Nun. I mean, they go through that first scene and they tell you why it's so ridiculous that the characters would have made those choices. So, but anyway, going past that, just go past that first scene. Then it becomes camp. What? I mean, this is 2018, I think, or 19, I don't know. But that movie turns camp. I mean, the acting is so bad that it just hurts the eyes, Well, maybe, listen, the introduction of the main character is horrible. I'm not saying the actress didn't do a good job. I'm probably more leaning toward the fact that she was really poorly directed. She seems capable. She's Vera Farmiga's, I think, younger sister or niece. I think
in reality.
In real life. In real life.
Yeah.
I think she's niece or younger. I don't know. Anyway,
I think so.
I like Vera Farmiga and everything, but I think she's really cool, and most of the time. But the introduction of the main character is just poor. It doesn't say shit about the character. Oh, here's a girl reading stories to kids. Okay, what does she stand for? Why is it important for us to care about the traumatic experience she's going through soon? I mean, and then the supposed love interest. Oh, give me a fucking break. If you could have a checklist for cliches that when you want to make a period piece about that particular time, and just the rugged look, the bad clothing. Yeah, way to go with not turning off your cell phone. I apologize, people. Refunds will be available at the ticket office. But if you could go through a checklist of cliches from that time, is what I was saying. If you want to do a period piece, that supposed love interest who I think saves her a couple of times. It's just so bland. It has nothing new to bring. And don't get me started with the villain. I mean, don't get me started with the whole nun thing. Get the fuck out of here. If you are all powerful, then why the fucking fuck would you toy? Why would you? If you can just kill these people, just kill these people.
In the beginning of the movie, there's no toying around.
If
you do remember.
Yeah, kind of.
Once they open the door.
Yeah.
All
hell breaks loose, kind of.
Yeah. So that's not
that's what I mean. It's not all bad. It's just didn't bring anything new. It could have built it up to something good. And there were moments where I really, really enjoyed the movie, which just makes it all that more frustrating. Yeah. And here's the moment that I loved: the time they took with the priest talking directly with the possessed nun.
Ah, yes.
The first moment he meets her, and they don't show you her face. She has that veil, that black veil, and the camera work is really, really good. So kudos to the director for those choices. I don't know if it was the director making that choice. I hope so. I want to believe so because I'm a director. So
there are really good things on that movie,
but they're scarce.
It fails.
They're scarce. It fails, and oh man! And what about the whole thing with the bells? With Jesus fucking Christ. Why would this demon bury a guy if she wants to kill him and put inside that coffin the book that will ultimately be her demise? Yeah. It's just fucking ludicrous. But anyway, so that's you asked me, so there you go.
I now I do remember the.
Oh yeah.
I searched
the fact check machine told you.
It's called Faust. Love of the Damned, yes. From 2000.
From the 2000s?
No,
just
from
2000. Okay.
And it's on IMDb. It's
how many stars?
4.2 actually.
4.2?
Yeah, I've seen some movies on TV. That were 1 point something and 2 point something.
Really?
Yeah. From the Sci-Fi Channel.
Wow. Oh yeah.
Yeah, terrible movies.
Yeah, but those are supposed to be mock movies. You're supposed to make fun of them. Most of them, I think.
Well, not not one of those that I saw. But this one is really tough. It says that it's drama, fantasy, and horror. I just think it's
shit.
Terrible.
Maybe there should be a genre that just shit.
Yeah, shit movie. Look, it's. I think in some part of the movie they try to do it like a superhero movie. You saw Spawn, right?
What?
Let me just, because the guy has claws and stuff. Shit, it's a shit fest, you know. If
we ever, follow through on that dream of ours of having a film festival, let's call it Shit Fest.
Yeah, Shit
let's
Fest.
make shit either the acronym for something.
Yeah.
And it's going to be called the Shit Fest. So pay attention to the Shit Fest, people. But don't watch. I haven't watched it because you spoke so badly about that movie.
No, it's terrible.
Ever since did you watch it when it came out or shortly after or something? Because I remember you talking to me about this way long ago.
Look, I was studying in a part of Portugal that's called Alentejo. Alentejo for the win. And
so that was when?
That's when I...
2002.
2002. Yeah. 2003 was
Madrid.
Yeah.
Okay.
And a guy just brought a CD or something like a DVD with the movie and stuff like that. And he put it and we watched it, and then we all cried a bit.
You should be right here with me now, because I wanted you to see his face right now. He is just holding back the tears.
No, it's look. The synopsis here says a man sells his soul to the devil in order to gain superpowers and avenge the brutal death of his girlfriend. Yeah. When he realizes that the price is the soul of his new love interest, he turns on the devil. Yeah, well, that's not quite new, but that could be...
That's a good premise. That could be a good premise.
We've seen that before, but
yes,
that could be a good premise, but it's not.
It's kind of like Spawn.
I wish you could see the trailer here, but you go to YouTube and
you know what? We're gonna look for that trailer, and we're gonna put it in the links below.
In the links below,
That's what we're gonna do,
and we can all cry together.
Yeah,
okay?
We can all have a big cry.
But
like
you have to see the movie.
Says, F's in the chat, please. After you watch the movie, we want to know what. Actually, we really want to know if you've watched this movie.
Yes.
Let us know what you think of it.
Do remember.
Maybe, especially if you disagree that it's a really, really shitty bad movie. If you disagree it's a shit fest, I hope people will upvote you or like your comment just so we can read it right at the top. We want to know exactly what you like about Faust. I haven't watched it because I've been hearing for 20 years how bad it is. And I haven't watched it yet, but maybe it's on our shit list. Hey, we should have a shit list.
Wait a minute. You didn't see this movie?
I haven't.
I didn't show you.
No.
Fuck.
Yeah.
Because you did. No. In the last episode we talked about that. I had to see through all of the
yes,
fucking disgusting immortals.
Yeah, the source.
Yeah.
Yeah, so you owe me one.
Yeah.
You owe me two. Well, one because the other one we really liked.
Yeah.
But you owe me one.
You have to sit with me.
Yeah, I will. Yeah. If you wanna go
without any pizza.
You know what we could do?
Coke. Yeah.
You know what we can do?
What?
We can do a live stream.
We can do that.
Yeah, we could do a live stream of us. We're not going to show anything. We're going to have headphones on. We're just going to comment the movie as it happens, and maybe you want to follow up.
So right now, I don't think we have that many subscribers. Doing that, I think we will never have any subscribers, man. We will be the first ones who have a negative count.
Yeah, negative count of subscribers
on YouTube.
Yeah. That would be cool. How would you have it anyway?
But let's try and do this.
Yeah, let's try and do this.
Okay.
Let's do. You know what? I suggest we do a live stream, and then we can make like a video with the best moments, with the best of, and just put it together
afterwards. Yes.
And it'll be fun. I think it'll be fun. So if you want to join us for that ride, just go to our Instagram, our Facebook, our Twitter, everything. We are the Creative Basterds. On Twitter, we are our handle is Creative Basterds, and on Twitter we are Creative Bastard. singular because it didn't allow for the extra S. So the links will be below. Just follow us on there, and you'll know when we're going to do that live stream. And I'm sure it's going to be a lovely shitfest to take part in.
I was looking at the filmography of the
director.
Director is called Brian Usna. I think I'm
Saying it wrong.
Saying it wrong. Yeah, but he actually is from the realm of horror movies. For example, back in '93.
Yeah.
He did the Return of the Living Dead 3.
Oh.
So, yeah, he was in those franchises. I don't know if that movie is anything good.
But wait a minute. Was he the director?
He was the director, yes.
Okay.
And he did other things.
Is it like Jaws 4? Because if it's like Jaws 4, then I understand.
Do you remember that one? It
Yeah.
was Jaws 4 in that...
My cocaine. Was it my cocaine?
My cocaine.
Yeah. Have you ever noticed how my cocaine sounds when he's speaking about himself?
You can say my cocaine.
Yeah,
and that's it.
That's it. My cocaine.
My cocaine.
Well, my name is Michael Caine. I'm rather fond of Christian Bale.
Well, but yeah, you have to see this movie, and I think the director maybe it's a good director. This is becoming a surprise to me. I don't know.
History is happening right now.
But I don't know. He done a lot of things. The Dentist.
Oh.
Necronomicon, for example.
Necronomicon.
Yeah. I don't know.
I think. Wait a minute. Necronomicon.
Yes.
Didn't Ennio Morricone do the soundtrack?
Segments. What?
Did
Ennio Morricone?
Well,
not for this movie, I think.
I think Ennio Morricone did a soundtrack for a movie called Necronomicon.
Well, it's with Jeffrey Combs. This is I know this guy.
Jeffrey what?
Jeffrey Combs. I know this actor.
How do you spell that?
Combs like a comb. Fuck.
Jeffrey Combs.
Combs.
Oh, you mean like a comb where you used to style your hair?
Yeah.
I thought it was something else.
Jeffrey Combs.
Well, I don't know who Jeffrey is, but he's probably a very happy man.
Fuck.
Anyway.
Okay.
Yeah.
So,
if you know Jeffrey, just tell him to take it easy. He could go blind.
You can grow hair on your hands.
So Jeffrey, buddy, if you need help, just don't call us. Anyway,
moving on.
Poor Jeffrey.
Another element of
he's probably the guy who has the most children on planet Earth. Because it's not my fault. It just happens. I don't know. Anyway, sorry. Go ahead. Going back to the.
I don't know. Another element that you kind of like
about horror movies.
Yeah.
Well, I thought about one, and it brings us back to the kind of. It brings us back to the idea of jump scares versus real fear, producing real fear in the audience. I think it's mostly used in thrillers, which I absolutely love. I love thrillers and suspense, but it can be used in horror as well. I can't remember a movie right now off the top of my head that did what I'm about to describe, but I'm sure there are. Which is here's the difference, and I'm going to use this anecdote. Excuse me. I'm going to use this anecdote to illustrate what I mean. When you start studying Alfred Hitchcock,
yes,
one of the first things that you come to is one of the first things that I came to was this anecdote, which is there are two styles of horror and thriller, and there's the Hitchcockian thriller, and then there's everything else. And here's how they play out. Every other thriller, and this I'm generalizing just for the sake of the argument. I don't actually mean this, but you'll get what I mean. So most other thrillers, what they do is this. You imagine this scene. People are coming into a party. They're having a good time. They're meeting each other. They're talking. They're doing little toasts, and it's a nice party. Everything's going well until you find that there's a bomb inside the wall. So there's a bomb inside the wall. There's 5 minutes to disarm it. SWAT teams just flood the building. They find the bomb and they disarm it 1 second before it explodes. Everybody's happy, and you had a little thrill. So that's a thriller.
Yes.
Here's how Hitchcock does it. He shows you first. The first thing he does, he shows you people setting the bomb in its place. setting the timer. You know how long it's gonna go before it blows, and then they cover the window, walk away, and then you see people arriving at the party, having exact same scene, and they're just saying hello to one another, having little toasts, and all the while the thrill ride is getting more and more intense because you as the audience, and we're going back to what we said before, you know more
yes.
than what the characters do.
Yes.
So this is genius. And I love it when horror films do this. Like I can't remember one that did this off the top of my head right now, but I'm sure there are. I mean, slowly building up to this.
That you already know that
fear.
there's something bad there.
Yeah.
It. Can it be?
It.
Well, maybe. No. I think that's. Because we already know by when they did the remake that the fucking clown was bad, so that's not it.
No, not really. That's not really the case.
Movie.
Well, if you guys know of any movies like this, just let us know in the comments below, and we'll check it out because I love this way of telling the story. I mean, this slow build-up into really intense fears. So again, we're not pussies. We love being afraid when we watch a movie. Jump scares are they are the tools of pussies. That's what it is. If you jump scare an audience, you're an idiot. You don't know what you're doing. Just quit while you're ahead, and just go open a restaurant somewhere because this is not for you. But if you want to really work on your craft and slowly build the audience up to a place where they cannot stand the fear. Here's a good example. In a way, it's a good example. Well, not of the mechanism that I was talking about, but a film that slowly builds up to an intense level of fear. The Exorcist, the first Exorcist.
Yes.
So it's not like you already know that evil's there and people are unaware of it. No, it's not that.
But you get that eerie feeling. Yes.
The Blair Witch Project does it really well as well. Not The Exorcist at the beginning. That didn't do it. That was just your run-of-the-mill, ordinary horror film. It didn't do anything for the franchise. Yes. And that's why the franchise fucking ended. Which, you know what? You do not have to make a franchise out of everything. God damn it.
Like the Dark one from, what? Warner Brothers? No.
Which one? Oh, the Dark Universe.
Yeah, Dark Universe.
Yes. Look what happened there.
Yeah.
Way to go, Warner Brothers.
That's not her movie.
Way to go, one of my favorite studios growing up. Just fucking everything up.
How would you describe that movie?
The Mummy?
For me, it's a superhero movie with dark.
It's not even dark.
It's an action.
It's not even
trying
dark.
to be dark, but it's not.
Trying to be dark.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, so we have a mummy. She has a lot of makeup on, and it's dark makeup, so it's probably a dark movie. No, honestly, it's not. It's not even dark. They're not even trying.
It's
anymore.
A fucking shame.
It's a shame. It's a fucking shame. And you know
what
it is?
Good actors and.
Yeah, listen, I love Tom Cruise. I'm not saying every movie he does is great. I'm just saying I love the guy because he's really dedicated to what he does, and he tries his best to make it the best movie possible. I get that. Sometimes maybe he's poorly directed, and maybe he lacks direction from a really insightful and original director. But that was actually a crossover between a Mission Impossible movie.
Yes.
The Mummy, I'm talking about The Mummy, was a crossover between a Mission Impossible. It has the same beats,
yes.
The same dynamics. It's kind of like a heist film, but with a mummy. And it's fucking stupid. That is not The Mummy. If you want to watch a good mummy, just go watch the Brendan Fraser Mummy. It's a lot better than this shit.
Yeah.
And look what they did for the franchise. Oh, the Dark Universe. Oh, Johnny Depp is going to be Mr. Invisible. The Invisible Man, I mean, sorry. And Jekyll and Hyde, Russell Crowe, yeah. Where did that go? Hello?
Nowhere.
Oh, and the Warner Brothers logo looks so cool with the dark. Go fuck yourself. It's all about, it's plastic fantastic. You eat it, it doesn't feed you. It's nothing, okay? You just shit it out and you don't remember what you had.
On a side note,
I'm sorry for all the cursing. I promise.
Are you aware of the amount of time in the beginning of a movie that we waste watching logos?
Yes. CinemaSins reminds me
exactly.
Watch CinemaSins. Go subscribe. They do a lot of work.
They completely. Well, you do remember when movies actually had an intro with credits and music and the main theme and stuff like that. But somehow they just cut it into a cold opening.
Oh yeah.
But wow, we can actually waste time on fucking logos.
Yeah.
Not in a really good intro that builds us to the beginning of the movie or the story or whatever, the mood. But come on.
Yeah, you've heard me say this a lot of times.
I've seen 6 intros the other day. 6 logos in a movie. I don't remember the movie, but 6
logos. Wait a minute. And each logo had like 10 seconds or 20 seconds.
It wasn't just a.
It wasn't just
a card.
logo.
It was an animation.
Yeah, a long animation.
Yeah, each one.
Yeah.
Fuck.
Yeah. You've heard me say this a lot of times when we work together on our project. I work a lot on bringing the best first image that I can when I open a movie.
Yeah.
The best first image. I'm talking about the literally the first thing that people see when the movie starts. And Bruno's heard me say this a lot of times because it's the catapult. I call it the catapult. It doesn't have to be like a slingshot into a slingshot motion into the universe that I'm trying to create or we're trying to create, but it can be a slow introduction into that universe. But the first image, the first thing you see projects you there. That's the first impact. So when the first impact is logos, I'm sorry, you're not doing your job. Yeah. And here's a good example of the opposite. We just discussed, we talked about Mission Impossible, the first Mission Impossible intro.
I don't remember.
It follows the same dynamics as the original series.
Yes.
Which is you have a glimpse into the first.
I do remember.
Into the first mission, yes. And then what do you call it, the fuse lights up, yes. And you follow the fuse. I mean, it's simple, but it brings you into that universe. It's effective. And I know what you mean, yeah. When was the last time you saw a really good intro to? Here's a good one, but I'm gonna tell you after you do tell mine. Into a horror movie.
Intro into a horror movie?
Yeah.
The last time.
Oh, not the last time, but one you remember fondly.
Well, The Thing, for example.
Okay.
And The Shining.
Oh, The Shining, yeah. The Shining is a really good one.
It's just
amazing.
Amazing.
Yeah.
So simple, but the music and the just driving.
It's so simple.
And it's there.
It becomes eerie.
Exactly.
Because you're expecting more and nothing more happens.
Yes.
So the audience with that music, you're slowly covered in this warm blanket of eeriness.
Yes.
And then just brace yourself because it's about to go down.
For me, it's one of the best intros.
Yeah. The one I remembered was one of my favorite movies and one of my favorite intros of all time, Interview with a Vampire.
Ah, yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Elliot Goldenthal.
Where we're going into the city and stuff like that.
Very slowly, very slowly.
And that music, man.
Elliot Goldenthal, wherever you are my god after that. Yeah. You became a god to me. Yeah. That's a really, really masterfully done. Of course, the movie itself, when it played on TV and I had my VHS recorder and I finally got it on tape, I sat on that couch or laid down for the whole weekend. I just kept watching it and rewinding it and watching it again and rewinding it because there was so much to unpack. That movie has so many layers. Well, I'm a big fan of Anne Rice, but I became a fan after that movie. But what you see there is she actually wrote the script. I don't know if you know this.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, she wrote the script.
I was about to telling you that you could like the movie, but the book.
Yeah, no, but that's listen.
She wrote the script, yes.
I write short stories and I write scripts, and I know how hard it would be for me to bring one of my short stories or a whole book, in her case, into a movie format. And she didn't know anything about screenplays at the time, and she did a brilliant fucking work. I mean, if you've read the book and you've seen the movie, either way you do it, you're going to be pleased, I think, because it's so truthful to the source material. Here's something that I've recently told a lot of people that I'm working with right now is most times when you're making a movie, you don't actually, you have images in your mind, sure, but this improves with time, of course, as everything does. But if you're beginning, I think one of the biggest learning points of every director and screenwriter, or director in this case, if you're just starting out, is coming to terms with this fact: most of the images you have for that movie are not actually what you want to see in the movie. What you want to do is produce the experience that those images have on you in the audience.
Yes.
So you don't want to actually shoot. This is for beginners, obviously, because people get more experience, and then it's not a problem anymore. But I think this is why starting directors have such a hard time finding their voice, because they insist on capturing the exact images they have in their minds instead of focusing on what the experience of being there is, and just producing that experience in the audience. Maybe it's different images. Maybe it's saved in the edit, like Star Wars was.
Yeah.
So maybe in a lot of movies, but have that in mind, that we want to produce the experience, and that's what Anne Rice did. She the experience of watching that movie is the experience of reading that book. I would even say that the book is feels a little longer than the movie. Even the movie is long. The movie is like 2 hours long, I think.
It is. It's a long movie, yes.
But the book is long. It just feels a little longer. As in, maybe when the book was released, her craft wasn't as developed as it was when she started thinking about the same story and in film format. I mean, it's just a wonderful example.
Yeah.
Vampire Lestat, Queen of the Damned, The sequels, I mean.
Queen of the Damned, it wasn't for me. The Vampire Lestat. No.
I think it was the same actor that came back to.
But in the movie, I really liked Vampire Lestat.
No. Oh, sorry. I didn't mean what Tom Cruise did in an interview with the vampire.
You mean
that
the other
movie to me is like perfect. I wouldn't even change anything.
Amazing cast.
What I'm saying is the sequel called The Vampire Lestat.
No.
It's not. It's forgettable. It's completely forgettable. And by the way, I'm not sure, maybe the fact check machine can check this. I think that the actor that played Vampire Lestat in the sequel was the same one that played Dorian Gray in The League of Extraordinary Gentlemen, I think.
Oh, that movie. Do you remember that?
Yes. Well, talking about sore spots in our memories. But anyway.
Poor Sean Connery, man.
Yeah, you know what? We can check that later. We don't have to check that now if you want. But you wanted to tell me something. Go ahead.
I don't remember what I was going to say. I forgot. But we can go to...
Yes! Time for the second topic of the day. Here's the bell. And here we go. Okay, my second topic is the future of science fiction. And here's what I mean. Maybe a little context would be in order. So, we have... Bruno and I grew up on science fiction as well as a lot of things, but science fiction was a big part of our lives. So we can feel the difference between what currently science fiction is, what science fiction is today. We can feel that it's a science fiction movie made today, as opposed to a science fiction movie made in our past and the ones that we grew up with. All right, so this is leading up to what I mean. We grew up on science fiction. Where do you think it's going? In terms of narrative, I'm not talking about the quality of the lenses or the photography. Obviously, that's different. But I mean, we grew up on this. So where do you see it going? What do you think is going to be the next big thing in science fiction? It's a big question.
That's a big question.
I don't have an answer, though.
If you see historically... that was that time, I don't know if it was during the 60s or something like that, you saw a lot of it was all about aliens, It was all about...
in the 50s and 40s even.
Yeah. I don't know if in terms of movies, maybe radio novels or something like that.
Oh, yeah.
Come on.
Orson Welles. Yeah. If you don't know, Orson Welles did a radio broadcast. It's basically...
You should know that.
Yes, you should. If you're here, you probably know this by now. But what? Oh man, I forget what the...
War of the Worlds?
No, it was War of the Worlds. But I mean, I forget what the name is for what he did. It's not radio novel. It's not radio soap opera. Well, anyway, it's basically a radio broadcast where they embody the story of they play out the story of War of the Worlds in radio format with actors and whatnot. And it was so realistic. I don't know if people know this. It was so realistic. And this is a story. This is just entertainment. But back then, before television was a household item, people gathered around the radio to listen to what was on. And when Orson Welles' War of the Worlds came on, people were so frightened that they committed suicide.
Fuck.
I think that people already know this by now, if you're listening to the Bastercast. But if you don't, here's a good thing to research while you're on Google. It's not just for porn, okay?
Really?
Well, not all the time. Unless you want to be like Jeffrey.
Sorry, Jeffrey.
Sorry, Jeffrey.
I don't know.
We should have a puppet called Jeffrey Combs.
Well, maybe this is. I mean, what else can we say in sci-fi that or show in sci-fi that is?
That's the question.
Already shown. I don't know. Let's just revisit some things. Videodrome, for example.
Oh yeah, Videodrome.
And another David Cronenberg's movies. You see
The Fly.
The Fly, for example. You have
The Fly is sci-fi horror.
Yes, you have telepathy.
Telepathy?
You have
what? Sorry, what? Telepathy?
Telepathy. Yeah, it's not in The Fly, but in.
Okay. I thought you meant teleportation.
No.
Okay,
teleportation in The Fly. Yes.
Yeah.
You have I don't know. With other movies, you have space exploration with Star Trek. With Star Wars, we have
even Forbidden
Adventure.
Planet.
Yeah, Forbidden Planet.
Starring Leslie Nielsen in great form, by the way.
I love that movie.
Yeah, I love that movie as well.
I don't know. Visiting other dimensions,
which
maybe,
has been done a lot.
Which has been done. AI.
And that's probably on the cusp. That's probably what's going on, right? I think
really
that would.
Think so. I think that was left. I think that was done a lot in the early 2000s.
Oh yeah, definitely. Even before. I mean, what's Terminator if he's not entirely?
Yeah, for example.
So what I mean is, I think it's something that would play out really nicely now because it's such a hot topic of conversation amongst people. Because we are in the imminent advent of AI. Self-aware AI.
Yeah.
So we're kind of almost there. If you listen to Elon Musk and I forget the name of the guy who owned Bigelow. Who owned
Deuce Bigelow?
No, not Deuce Bigelow. I can't remember the first name. Here's another for the fact check machine, so we can put it in later. I don't know. Something Bigelow. He basically has an aerospace company that builds rockets and such.
I don't know. I live in a cave. So.
I know. I say we are in your cave. I just hope this is not like The Descent and people are going to start crawling up the walls.
Yeah.
So anyway, if you're paying attention, then we are close to having AI, and not that it's not a big leap from that to we already have AI, but you know the kind of AI I'm talking about, and it's not going to be a giant leap when you to having a self-aware AI. And I think that would be good, very opportune for science fiction, but it has been done though.
Did you see that movie with Oscar Isaac and
not robot?
You have that female robot or an android. I don't remember the name of the movie. It's quite
Oscar Isaac.
Yeah.
Female robot.
I'll see that.
Oh, here's one that it has AI and it has a female artificial intelligence. Her.
You know what? That
with
movie. With
Joaquin Phoenix.
I like that movie, but I cannot see it again.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's. I like when I saw it. Yeah, good movie. But nowadays, I just don't feel like into.
No, I think
see it again.
I think one of the one place where the movie trips, and I really liked it. I when I came out of the movie theater, I was really, really happy and satisfied. I watched it. It was kind of mind blowing in certain points. But I think where it falls short is it touches a lot on the trendy fashions. You know,
exactly. Yeah.
Like the main character is a little too trendy for most people's taste, I think. and I think that's where it loses a little bit of empathy with most of the audience. But the plot-wise, it's really good, and it's a good example of how sci-fi can develop in the very, very near future, and also become self-aware. It's very good idea.
Shit, am I wrong? Because I thought that Oscar Isaac was in that movie.
What's the plot of the movie? So there's a female robot?
I think it's Oscar Isaac. That's one of the I don't know, a tech mogul, you know. And there's a guy, which is a well-known actor as well, goes to his house / retreat, and there's an AI living with him.
Oh, I don't know.
Well, being experimented, and I really don't.
I'll look that up.
Yeah. Well, you know what? Speaking of movies, for example, that I would like to see again, or premises, something like They Live.
Oh yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Something like that.
Yeah.
And
what's that's
not a remake, please. Not a remake.
No, leave that fucking
or
movie
reboot.
alone. It's perfect as it is.
Yeah. But something like it. Something that.
That would be even more.
That wasn't a perfect movie.
No, not at all.
But it's.
When I say it's perfect as it is, I mean it speaks to its time.
Yeah, exactly.
Don't touch it.
But something like that nowadays.
Yeah.
I don't know. I love Star Trek.
But that would be very opportune, though.
Yeah.
That would be very timely to do something like They Live, because people are now more aware than ever of how they're being monitored and manipulated through the media. So that would be a very, very good. That would be a very good introduction to the sci-fi, the future of sci-fi. If something like that were to happen, that momentous, something like that big, that would be wonderful.
Yeah, I think so. I don't know if it would be refreshing, but it would be interesting. The movie that I was talking about, it was Ex Machina.
Oh, Ex Machina! I haven't watched it.
I did.
Is it Oscar Isaac?
It is with Oscar Isaac,
okay.
And that's AI themed. So yeah.
And in your grade system, how
I didn't watch it.
Oh, okay, you didn't. Okay.
But because I forgot it. I forgot about it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Here's something. Yeah, go ahead.
Let me just tell you. One thing I do not want to see again. It's Prometheus.
Oh.
And
yeah.
but you know what? It scored 74% in Rotten Tomatoes. So
yeah.
that tells a lot about Rotten Tomatoes nowadays.
Yeah.
I love Ridley Scott. I love Alien. I love
Alien.
Alien, yeah. I love other movies from Ridley Scott. Blade Runner, for example.
I mean, yeah.
But
one of the best movies ever made.
Don't take the Alien franchise and again another franchise to this path. You know,
Don't take it down that path. I know. I mean, it was so. You know, it just. What do I call it? It grew too much for its own sake.
Exactly.
The story grew too much for its own sake.
You don't need to know everything about the past of Alien.
No, that's why the first one was so good.
Know that.
That's why the Xenomorph was so good. Nobody fucking knew.
Did you see the last
anything.
one?
Of course not.
But I saw and I loaded.
You loaded, yeah.
Because you. If I'm not, I don't remember, but if I'm not mistaken, you see the origin of it all.
Oh no!
And you, and you ask yourself, why the fuck?
Wait a minute. You mean the second Prometheus?
The second.
Oh.
It's not called Prometheus. It's called something else.
Yeah.
It's with you have the trailer with the alien grabbed into the window of the ship.
Oh, yeah.
You should actually you shouldn't show that in the trailer as well. It's one of the best scenes of the movie. It shouldn't show that, but okay, forget.
Why are you gonna do that?
You see the whole origin of the alien mythos. You know, mythos.
Yeah. So you see the origin of the Xenomorph.
Exactly. So. Please, no.
No. And this speaks to a brother issue. Don't explain everything.
Exactly.
It's like you're not even leaving any crumbs for the audience's imagination to work on.
Yeah.
It's just, everything's on screen. I don't need to do any work.
shouldn't-
I'm a completely passive consumer now.
Yeah.
I'm not being treated like an intelligent human being.
And I speak for myself, but I think you agree too. When we are talking about movies, saying good things or bad things, it's not as film director or film composer or whatever. It's as consumers.
Well, yeah.
Yeah, mainly. Yeah.
Mainly as consumers.
Yeah, mainly as consumers.
Definitely. I mean, look, it's kind of hard to dissociate the two.
Yeah, but
and if you work, we try. If you work in any area, and especially any creative area, for any amount of time, you're gonna feel those cogs starting to change. The way you appreciate the art, it starts to change. So it's kind of inherent in us that we are not just consumers when we go to the movies. But that being said, we look around when we see. I mean, I speak for myself again, but I think you do too. You agree that when we are at the movie theater and we look around and we see all these people just, satisfied. They're just satisfied. They're not. Do you remember the experience of
They're
watching?
not thrilled.
They're not thrilled.
No.
Do you remember the experience of watching the first and to me the only Matrix?
Oh yes.
You see that kind of mind-blown
yeah.
effect that movies can have?
Yes.
Like everybody got out of that movie theater. Well, maybe not anybody, but most people, I'm sure, walked out of that movie theater thinking, can this be can this be reality? Yeah. Can this be true? Is it just a fable, or is it actually like a? I mean, how can I prove this wrong? You can't prove a negative. But anyway, but people got out of those movie theaters thinking, how can I prove this wrong?
Yeah.
And they can't. And that's the mind-blowing effect that movies can have on people. Their reality they start looking at their everyday lives a little differently.
Yes.
That makes them richer, and it makes them think about things differently, even in their own private life or the path that they're taking throughout their life. I mean, that's the impact that movies and other art forms can have. And these pieces of shit movies that we watch day in and day out that don't do anything for the audience, but people keep going to see them, us included. Yeah. And it's just like, instead of going out and having a drink, I'm going to watch a movie and just go home exactly the same.
Yes.
And this is what we mean.
Worse.
We try to be consumers, but looking around, we know, being a film director and a film composer, we know how much more movies can do for you.
Yes.
And so it's kind of painful. But again, the future of sci-fi. I mean, there are a lot of things that can still be done.
I don't know. Yeah, a lot of things that can be done, but invent something new, I don't know.
Yeah, come up with something new. How's that for a thought? Instead of just rehashing old shit.
Invent something new, yes, but I mean a whole different topic.
Oh no, but that goes back to Plato. That goes back
exactly.
to Plato, where you're not going to find. You're not going to tell really original stories anymore because all the stories have been told. I mean, you have the 3, 5, 7 act structure for stories, and then you have the themes of the stories. You probably, if you're writing a story right now, and I'm sure that a lot of you are, you're probably not going to be, even though you think you are, if you distill that story into its core themes, you're probably not writing an original story.
Yes.
But that doesn't matter.
That doesn't matter.
The path is to find your original voice in telling that story, and that's what we need. People who are not afraid of coming out with their artistic voices and telling people, this is what I stand for. Yes. Speaking of Joaquin Phoenix, we talked about her. I'm not going to talk about a sci-fi movie, but he did a movie called I Wasn't Even There.
I do remember that.
Or I Was Not There.
I'm not here.
No, that's I'm Not Here is Bob Dylan, right?
Really? I wasn't there. I know that it was during a phase that they made people believe that he was crazy.
Oh no, it's not there.
No?
It's not that
It's
one.
not that?
It's one where he's a mercenary and he has to, and he's paid to go and rescue children from sex trafficking networks. And it's not that. But that movie has such a original voice. It's like it's a thriller. It can be action. It's at times a little horrifying. a drama. It has a lot of elements to it, and it's no movie is perfect. And cinema, I keep hacking on about Cinema Sins. I'm not in Cinema Sins, by the way. I'm just a fan. But one thing they say is no movie is without sin. Well, no movie is perfect, but this one has such a true voice. You know, the director has such a clear notion of what he wants to do, and that's what we're lacking. So, yeah.
Do you remember, I miss films like, for example, Gattaca.
Yeah.
Gattaca. It's not the perfect movie, but
no movie is perfect.
And that one with Christian Bale.
The Machinist.
Well, that's a very interesting movie.
It's not sci-fi, though.
No, that movie that we both saw, and we immediately thought that he was going to become the next Batman. Remember that sci-fi action?
Oh, yes, Equilibrium.
Yes, it has a
2003
maybe. It's very similar to me in some ways.
To Gattaca,
yes. Yeah. And why don't they do something like that?
Well, I mean, that one movie, it kind of became one of those unnamed cult films. You know, it's kind of a fringe sci-fi movie. It's not mainstream, but it's not a B movie.
No, it's not.
It's really good. It's really good. I mean, it falls short a little, but it doesn't. It's surprisingly good. And it stylistically, it's very coherent. So that's a good thing. I wanted to introduce something into this conversation, which is the definition of science fiction as dictionary.com has it.
Okay.
So the definition of science fiction is, and I'm going to tell you why I think it's not complete, this definition. A form of fiction that draws imaginatively on scientific knowledge and speculation in its plot, setting, theme, etc. So, etc., it's not complete, but that's not what I meant. So I'm going to read it again. Science fiction, according to dictionary.com, is a form of fiction that draws imaginatively on scientific knowledge and speculation in its plot, setting, and theme. Okay, so that's a really good definition of science fiction. It talks about that. It says that it's not necessarily just scientific, but it draws on scientific knowledge to and scientific speculation, which is even more exciting for me.
Yeah.
To produce plot, a setting, and a theme. Yeah. So here's my 2 cents on it. What I think this definition lacks, and no, I'm not trying to say that it needs to have this, what I'm about to say. I'm not trying to say that I have the solution for it. I'm just saying that it's lacking something. And it's the notion of what if.
But isn't there implied
in the speculation?
Yeah,
maybe it's implied. I wish it was, and probably you don't need to change that. I'm not trying to advocate to change the definition on dictionary.com. Yeah. What I'm trying to say is, I would like to make people think in terms of when you're building a story, a sci-fi story, think about what if based on scientific knowledge and speculation, but think about what if and take that premise to its full potential.
Okay, but when I think about what if, the first thing that comes to my mind is parallel universes. You know, what if in certain time, in certain point of history,
every fiction is a parallel universe. If you go that direction, not even science fiction, right?
Yeah, because and actually, you do know that a lot of people, not a lot of people, but some people don't see, for example, Star Wars or Star Trek as science fiction. They see it in as fantasy movies.
Yeah.
I don't see it as fantasy movies.
Star Trek as well?
Yeah.
Oh. Okay.
I see it as sci-fi with that definition.
Yeah.
But I don't know. Some kind of purist. So I don't know.
Okay, so let me be clear. When I say, as you said, and I agree, the what if question is included. Well, it's kind of implied in that definition. It's implied. What I'm trying to illustrate is that there's a difference between drawing from scientific knowledge and speculation and creating a story and actually building a premise to its full extent. Mm-hmm. So here's what I mean. And I think we mentioned this in the past podcast, in the first podcast we ever did. So go check that out. It's in our playlist. It's, wherever you're listening to this, it's there as well. Passengers.
Yes.
Passengers with Jennifer Lawrence and Chris Pratt.
Yeah.
that could have been a tremendous movie.
If it was told
Just
in
slightly
a different
differently.
way. Yeah.
But why wasn't it? In my view, because it drew too much from character drama. It didn't draw from the plot. It didn't
Yes.
explore the premise far enough. It explored the premise just slightly, so it could go into a soap opera in space. Right?
Yeah,
So
a romantic movie.
I hated that.
Yes.
That was like that was getting blue balls. That's the same as getting blue balls, right? Jeffrey, you can have blue balls for a day, but but this is what I mean. I mean, the premise was really good. I was pretty excited about the premise again. When I saw the poster, and we've been doing this for long enough that when we see a poster, we kind of know what we're getting into. When I saw the poster, I was kind of, okay, this is going to be hard to watch, but I'm going to go through it. And I went through it, and it just held so much promise that it didn't deliver, and I just walked out feeling, okay, I ate a bag of popcorn. That's what what I did. And yes, I do eat popcorn in movies.
If it was told in another way, it would be
Just slightly different.
Yeah.
You know, when I
Editing.
well, that's yes, editing could have solved it,
Yeah.
and there's a really good video by Nerdwriter. I think it's
Yes.
Nerdwriter that kind of did the editing exercise.
Okay.
And it would have. I mean, I watched the movie first, and then I watched his take on it, and some things were surprising. Other things I actually left the movie theater thinking.
Okay.
Like, for example, if you've watched the movie, spoilers. This won't be a spoiler, but if you haven't watched it, spoilers. By the end, given the hard choice that the main character had to make in order to overcome his obstacle, his existential obstacle, it would be natural for the plot to direct the other main character, Jennifer Lawrence, to make the same choice that she criticized him for doing.
Yeah.
It's just natural. That's what the audience would have loved, I think. And I'm just not just talking about what I would have loved. I would have loved that, sure. I'm not just talking about myself. I think people would have been, again, would have had that mind-blowing effect that movies can have, and start thinking about their lives in reality a little different and their own choices. So it would stand to reason to make someone who criticized one of the main characters' fundamental life choices to go through the same challenge and see how they would overcome it, and probably make the same choice and understand it finally, and then stop criticizing.
Pretty valid point.
Yeah. So and Nerdwriter actually touched upon this as well.
But you never stop to ask yourself why, in such a large ship with so many people, there was only I don't remember, one or two chambers like that, where beds like that.
Really, one or two?
I think so. Something like that.
I don't remember.
I don't remember.
If any of you remember, just put it down in the comments below if you've watched that movie recently.
I think it made me feel, when I saw the movie, it made me feel like the end of Titanic. Shit, that thing is big enough for both of them.
Oh yeah,
This is a
I
classic
see what
one.
you mean.
You know, shouldn't there be another at least another 10 pods like that?
Oh, wait a minute. You're talking about the escape pod? No, not
no escape
pods.
pod. The thing where they have to go in and stuff like. You do remember?
Yeah. So wait a minute. You're talking about the not the resurrection. It's not resurrection. It's the medical the medical chamber that looks like a pod, and basically it's like Bones in Star Trek, but mechanical bones. It just solves every health problem that you have.
I think there was only one or two or something like that. Come on, in such
a large ship with actually documented. It was documented in the movie that there were, I think, hundreds of people on that ship. Yeah. So why just two chambers? Yeah, or one or three. I don't remember. Yeah, something happened. Anything below 100 is stupid. So I saw that like an easy getaway to end the story or something like that. I don't know. It was drama. Fuck. It was plot convenient. Yeah, exactly. It was plot convenient. And by the way, Andy Garcia, Yeah.
Well, yeah, great part.
Yeah, great part, man.
I love Andy Garcia,
I love
but come
Andy
on.
Garcia, and you crushed it, dude. You crushed it, dude. That stare spoke more than 10 pages of dialogue.
Fuck.
So yeah, again, going back to what sci-fi is and could be in the future, I wish that sci-fi movies in the future, again started taking premises to their full extent. Explore the premise and make the characters live the premise, not the premise adapt itself to the characters. Or in other terms, when you're writing a sci-fi movie, it's not because it's set in space that makes it sci-fi. It's not because it has a lot of machinery, a lot of exotic machinery that is it's sci-fi. Sci-fi is about theme. It's not about the set. It's not about the technological eye candy.
No.
All right, it's about the plot. And here's a good example of what I mean. The last time I went to the book fair in Lisbon, I bought maybe 10 of those old sci-fi short stories that we have, that we used to have in the 80s and 90s. And there were a lot of them there. And one of them I bought and I loved it. And I think I told you about this. It's called Day World by Philip Jose Farmer.
Yeah.
So here's a full-blown sci-fi story. It is sci-fi. And what it does is it explores the possibility that the Earth is so full of people, it's overcrowded, it's overpopulated, and what mankind did was, I'm probably gonna get shit for saying that, but I don't really care. That's a definition, so go fuck yourself. I'm not, just go fuck yourself. If you're gonna go at me because I said humankind or mankind, I don't care. But anyway, mankind. So the solution that mankind found was that each person could only live one day of the week. Okay. That's why it's called Day World. So here's what happens, and go read the movie. Go read the book because read the movie as well. But go read the book because even if I tell you about it, which I'm about to, you're not going to be spoiled. Trust me. So basically, here's the premise. The premise is the Earth is overpopulated, so people can only live one day of the week, and they're assigned one day of the week. So, for example, you would probably be assigned, I don't know, you only live on Tuesdays, and I only live on Wednesdays. So we would never meet. All right.
Yeah.
Okay. So this goes on for decades and decades and decades. And the other days you're in this pod, for the lack of a better word.
The thing is, you don't live one to Tuesday and die. You
oh no. Yeah. Sorry. What I meant. So the story is really, really well crafted. You live one day of the week, and then you go into this pod where you hibernate for the other 6 days, and then you wake up again. Exactly. So you only live on Tuesdays or Mondays or Sundays or whatever. And here's where the writer took the time to really appreciate the premise. Here's where. He realized that in such a reality, every day would be a different world. Because people don't meet each other. They don't cross days.
Yeah.
So what happens? Different cultures in every day. Well, people that live in different days, their culture is going to drift apart.
Yeah.
So every day was different. The fashion was different. The customs were different. The languages were not the language in terms of English was still English, but we have slang, right? Yeah. So slang would be different. And their memes. There weren't memes at the time. This is a book. I think it was published in like the 82 or 78. I don't know. But the memes, if there was such a thing at the time, would have been so everything culturally would be different. But it's the same people. They just inhabit different worlds because they drift day to day. And this is not even explained in the story. This is just the backstory. This is just where the writer sits down and thinks about the universe he's trying to create, and then he goes, okay, now let's come up with a vehicle to explore this world, a story, a character. Let's make up a hero, and how can I make this interesting? So here's how he did it. There's a detective a police officer, I think he's called, who is in charge of finding daybreakers. I think I read the Portuguese version, so I don't know if it's called Day. I know it's called Day World, the title. I don't know if these people are called daybreakers, but basically what they do is they are day criminals. Mm-hmm. They refuse to follow the orders of survival that mankind came up with. They don't want to live just one day, so they refuse to go into those pods, and they live as outcasts every day,
Every
and
day.
they are hunted down by the police force of the time. So here's this guy who has to go from he lives every day just so he can catch these people. He can't just work on Tuesday because the Wednesday people don't know who the criminals are. Sometimes they have information going back and forth, but one person has to be assigned to go follow them. Okay. So what does he do? In order for nobody else to because he's undercover. So the kind of undercover that he does, just so no one else realizes that he's coming from another day. What he does is he takes different personalities.
Yes.
And he has this whole ritual of going into each character. It's mind-blowing. Now, nothing about what I said has to do with space, has to do with aliens.
Technology.
It has to do with a little bit of technology, but
it's
so
not the main
fringe.
focus. Yeah,
it's not. It's so fringe. It's just an instrument that enables this kind of reality. It's just one. It's a pod that enables this kind of reality. Everything else could happen right now. That's science fiction. And this writer took it to the full extent. I'm not going to tell you how. You have to read the book. But it took it to the premise to its full extent without wasting too much time on the drama that is being this guy. The loneliness inherent to this job. The fact that the wife that you have on Monday is not the same person that you have next to you on Tuesday. Yes. It doesn't live to tell these personal stories. It hints at them. It acknowledges that the reader is going to be intelligent enough to infer the rest, and it just goes with the plot. It just goes with the premise. It's a trip. And that's what I mean with what if. Just bring the premise to its full extent, and you'll have a movie or a book that nobody will ever forget, and it will have a huge impact on it.
Yeah, exactly. And picking up on what you're saying, you do remember THX?
THX, yes.
Do you remember that one? It's a completely different story, but it's about people's lives, and that's what it matters in that movie and in that book as well. And I just love this movie, and it's actually very simple. It comes from a short film from George Lucas. And it's really, I know that you know this film like the palm of your hand. So the thing is, it's really a really simple premise, and it's beautifully done. You see a lot of technology. You have a car and a futuristic car and a futuristic motorcycle chase.
I want to talk to you about those motorcycles.
I know about the sound. That's the sound
yeah.
itself. Yes, I know you said it. I do not remember how what was the name of the car.
Oh, not the car. I don't remember.
The car had some kind of name. I don't know. But the thing is, it's very simple, and it
touches on the same themes, kind of, as Equilibrium.
Exactly, and Gattaca.
Gattaca, yeah.
And they are all, for me, brilliant. You know, it's like that book of yours.
Yeah, you know, it just reminded me of. Here's something that a sci-fi writer could dwell on, and it would be timely and opportune. It has to do with that. That movie, the short film, I think was made in 1980.
What short movie?
The THX 1138.
No, what was before
79.
Yeah, the movie is from 71.
The movie is 71.
Yes.
The feature film?
Yeah, the feature film. The short film it's I don't know.
It's before, like
it's before. It was still
really?
in the
71. I thought it was much later.
California.
Oh, of course it wasn't. Oh, never mind. I've got my decades messed up.
Yeah.
How could it be 79 if Star Wars was coming out in 77? So, yes, of course. Never mind. So, they are surrounded by all this technology, and they are dull. They are numb. Yeah. Look what's happening today.
No sex, but do you remember the rules?
Yes. No emotional sex, connections.
There are drugs.
There are drugs to inhibit. Yeah.
Exactly. And great analogy.
Yeah.
But there's lots of sex today.
Yeah, there's lots of sex today, but it's not like it used to. I mean, yesterday we went to that bar and we met a friend of mine and we talked about this.
Yes.
That there is it's not, I wouldn't say a shortage, but there is a declining interest in building honest relationships with people and long-lasting relationships. And yes, I'm also talking about the sexual drive to find a mate. Also that. And a lot of people, people that focus on these issues, psychologists and sociologists, they talk about the impacts of technology on our daily lives, and this is one of the side effects.
Yeah.
Look at China. In China, I think Japan. I'm not sure which one. I think it's Japan. Yeah, Japan. So what's happening is people are choosing online relationships over real connections and real relationships.
Really?
They already have girlfriend and boyfriend bots. When I talk about online relationships, I was talking about dating someone real, but through a screen, right?
Really, is that the thing?
That's a growing trend. This was a growing trend 2 years ago. So I'm imagining that it's still growing.
Okay.
Because this is when I researched it. But when I said online relationships the first time, I was talking about two real people engaging in some sort of relationship, but in the digital world. They don't meet, they don't have any sort of intimacy. And then what I mentioned was girlfriend and boyfriend bots. So this is the next level. There are bots that are kind of like they are artificial intelligence that grow, that learn from exchanges with you, and your relationship grows, and it knows your likes and stuff. So this already is real. All right. So this already
but people
happens.
pay to do that.
People
it's
pay
like
to
an
do
application.
You buy
like
the
an
app. You buy the app, and
that's
you
it?
use it. That's it. And so this is what I mean. This technology interferes directly with your, I don't know, as Andre put it in My Dinner with Andre, a great movie. Please watch that movie; it's amazing. As Andre put it, the 1960s were probably the last manifestation of mankind, of the human spirit. I'm not going as far as he did, but I'm saying that it was maybe proportionally indirect to the amount of technology available. Okay, so maybe technology abused in our daily lives, maybe it has an impact on our relationships, and that's why THX would be so timely right now.
No, you can see you have reports of people having problems, sexual problems because of porn.
Oh yeah, porn. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Oh, what?
No,
wait a minute.
No.
I was just thinking about something. I was just thinking that there was a study.
Yeah.
I was trying to remember the study. What is it?
No, there was a study.
There were several studies actually.
Yeah, because of the amount of porn that people see, mainly guys.
Yeah.
And they.
Well, not mainly guys, I think.
No. But the problem was mainly targeted guys, you know.
Oh, the study targeted guys.
Yeah, targeted guys, because the problem was it was with guys in sexual performance, you know, because of such a huge amount of porn. It was messing with their head, and well, both of them.
And Jeffrey, I know you're listening.
and that's it. And they had to cut fapping to porn.
Okay.
Otherwise, they would have problems
in the bedroom. Okay. So here's what's going on. Basically, your brain will assimilate stimuli from what it's facing. I mean, that's where you have senses. You have senses because you have all these stimuli coming in from the outside world, and then your brain interprets them and uses it to help you to create drive to achieve something else. So if you have a lot of input from pornography, what happens is you're being attracted to things that aren't real. You can't touch. It's just in your brain. And let's not forget, like what's the character's name in The Big Lebowski? Jackie Treehorn. Jackie Treehorn says, dude, don't forget that the most erogenous organ in the human body is the brain. And to which the dude responds, well, in your case, maybe. But anyway, he is right.
No, he's right.
He's right. So if you're stimulating the brain with exclusively images that you can't touch, you can't feel, there's no warmth to them. And most of the times, I mean, these women and men are propped up to be like something that society deems ideal. So when you go out there and you meet someone that's not ideal for some reason, their hair isn't perfect, or they're balding, or they're growing fat, or they have hair on their backs.
Oh, there's a full bush downstairs.
There's a full bush downstairs. Or she
it's,
doesn't have the right nail polish.
Yeah,
or
for example.
Or I don't know. I don't know what kind of things you don't like or like. I don't care. Maybe all of these things turn you on. If they do, don't write to us telling us. We don't need to know. But no need to know. But again, that's how you are affected by this. So let's circle back around to the idea of sci-fi and how technology impacts your everyday life. That's something that future sci-fi could do.
It's already being done. Actually, I think that's being done since, I don't know, 70s, the 80s, whatever. Every time that we have some technology breakthrough or something like that appears in movies. And sometimes it's the other way around. You do remember the communicators in Star Trek?
Yeah, of course.
In the 70s or the 60s, whatever, in the 60s. Yeah, the original series.
The first episode was 66.
That was a smartphone, for example.
Yeah, that was a smartphone.
Come on. Sometimes it's the other way around. But I don't know where sci-fi is going to... What's the future of sci-fi? I don't think anyone does. But I think the main thing is, will it be good sci-fi? Good stories?
That's where I'm getting at. Yeah.
You saw that Denis Villeneuve movie.
The Arrival?
Yes, exactly. What did you think about it?
Oh, it fell short. It fell so short.
Yeah, for me as well. I love the movie.
I love the idea.
I love the idea and the movie, but then I needed something else.
Yes, of course. You get too focused on these people's personal lives.
I don't mean a war between I don't mean that.
No, I know what you mean.
Something else.
It's kind of like Passengers, and I think they came out relatively close to one another. It's kind of like Passengers in the sense that the plot then, it decides to dip into the main characters' lives and their dramas instead of the premise. The premise.
Exactly.
Listen, the premise is not that we're being visited by aliens. That's not the premise of this movie. The premise is that communication can be very different from what you know, from what we know today. It doesn't have to have this boundary. And I'm a linguistics guy. I love literature. I built my life around writing and reading, and also film directing, of course. But literature has
and acting as well.
And acting, well, yeah. But so literature and the written word is a big chunk of my life. So this movie touched on a lot of things that I loved, especially the idea that communication doesn't have to be restricted to words.
Yes.
As much as I love literature and words and linguistics, you cannot escape the reality that it encroaches on communication, because you're saying one word when you really want to pass on is a concept. Yeah. It's hard. So the word kind of hints at that concept, but it's not the concept itself. And that's what Arrival is. It's a new way to approach communication.
That's the brilliant thing.
Yes, that's the brilliant thing. So why then am I wasting time hearing about that character's daughter, and
it was all connected, because you do remember that it was an idea of time, a different idea of time.
Sure.
Yeah.
I just think it was poorly done.
Yeah, we could have
it's too emotional.
Yeah.
It became too much. It's like putting things on a scale. Imagine you have like a 3 or 4 plate scale instead of just 2, right? So it goes around, and then on each little plate you put a theme.
Yes.
All right. In this movie, you have like let me just say. I don't know.
Sí, señor. Sí.
Personal dramas and. So let's put on one plate personal dramas. On the other plate, new form of communication. On the other plate, alien visitation. On the other plate, control and manipulation, because that's what the military were doing. Let's just say, for the sake of the argument, let's make it simple and say that this is just what the movie is about.
Yeah.
The plate of personal dramas weighed too heavily by the end.
Yes.
So it didn't feel right. And it's okay to dip. It's okay to unbalance it. It's okay to make things, in lack of a better word, dirty for the sake of the plot or the sake of the movie. It's fine. But this was just too on the nose. You could see it coming a mile away. It wasn't that promise that the premise gave us. Hey, the premise.
Okay, let me ask you one thing.
Yeah.
Then, the end of Inception. The end of Interstellar. everything.
Same problem.
Love.
Same
Love
problem.
is the answer for everything.
Which is kind of, I don't disagree with that. You do.
Okay,
I
explain.
know that you're a hateful kind of guy.
I am.
No, love is the answer for everything.
It's not like that.
It's not. I mean, I don't disagree.
But
It's not
that's
like
the
I
connection.
agree. It's not like I agree with that.
Yeah.
I don't disagree with the idea that, like when we were talking about in Passengers, taking that character, the second character, Jennifer Lawrence's character, through the path that led the first character to make that hard choice in the first place.
Yeah.
Right? So first, it was the greatest betrayal that she ever knew.
Yeah.
And then by the end, it was the most nurturing and self-sacrificing choice that a person made for their own emotional state.
Yeah.
For the sake of their own emotional state. So she
Exactly.
understands that. Then it starts out as, I don't know, two strangers on a plane. And then it becomes love, and then it becomes hate, and that way it would become under a deeper kind of love, like the love that comes with compassion and understanding. That's what I mean. By being compassionate and looking to understand instead of criticize and hit and be aggressive, then you can evolve.
Yeah.
Right? So in a way, love being compassion and understanding, is the answer to everything in terms of human evolution. If we want to overcome obstacles, it's not by fighting, it's by collaborating.
Yes, but
Right. So that's what I mean. That's a kind of love, as in
but
understanding.
it's
and
a
compassion.
whole bunch of emotions, ideas, concepts, consequences. Again,
it's how you
Whole
portray
palette.
it. It's how you portray
Yeah.
it. So let me just answer your question. The
I'll
question
let you.
is, thank you, Mr. Administrator, sir.
You're welcome.
So to answer your question, I agree with you that the movie did a poor job at putting that on screen.
What Interstellar?
Love is everything.
The thing for me was that I was enjoying that movie so much, and that part didn't ruin the movie for me, but it felt short. I wasn't expecting that thing to be the main theme of the movie. It is
kind of like Arrival. What it wanted to show was that a notion of time, whereby you can impact your past through your future. So it's like Arrival in that respect.
But I did really like both of the movies.
I
don't know.
I didn't like Arrival.
Really?
I didn't. It's not like I hated everything or I didn't like anything. It's not like that. But I don't want to watch it again. I don't want to. It didn't do anything for me because it was so. It didn't take the premise to its full extent. But then maybe a part of it is aesthetics, and then maybe a part of it is also personal. My personal preference. For example, in the terms of Interstellar, maybe that's what Christopher Nolan wanted to take. Where Christopher Nolan wanted to take the narrative. Okay, that's fine.
Yeah, that's fine.
In my case, I wanted to somehow either see what happens when you get to the other side of the black hole.
Yeah.
Actually see. I mean, there are hints that a black hole can be some sort of portal, and that's been done before. I know. But maybe it could be a wormhole, which has been done before as well. But the adventure side of me wants to see what's on the other side. And if there's nothing on the other side, then talk about the impact that such a knowledge has on humanity.
Yeah.
On the men and women that were left behind.
Yeah. Okay.
So that's more interesting
that's
than
really
talking about
interesting,
the personal story of that guy in there. Give me a fucking break. There's a bigger issue here.
Go back to 2001.
Okay.
Space Odyssey.
All right.
It becomes everything about the guy.
That's
More or less.
More or less. That's not a personal drama.
No, it's not a personal drama, but then it's everything.
He's not trying to save his daughter.
Not that, but it becomes all about him and his experience.
Because here's how I take that. It's not. I have two interpretations. One of them is he is actually traveling, but maybe, and this could be one of the reasonings behind all that whole trip. Maybe when you travel so far deep into space, it becomes relevant to you.
Okay, it can be. Yeah.
Maybe space is not all about
Perhaps.
distance. Maybe space is about it has a lot more spiritual to it. Maybe and that's
yes. Okay.
And you make a trip that has to do with you. The other possibility that I came up with was maybe it's not him that's traveling. He's been disintegrated long before he gets to his destination, but his mind is still traveling. So he sees future versions of himself.
Okay, but you're entering the what do you mean by mind? Soul?
Yeah, I think you can call it whatever you want, but let's just call it.
I don't know.
Everything
because
that
without
you
a body, where's the mind?
Yeah, that's a good question. Maybe that's the question that the movie wants to ask. I don't know.
Yeah, that's cool.
And then it comes back to the what do you call it? Not the space baby. What is it?
I know what you mean.
Oh man.
I don't know. I really don't know why do we have a podcast, man? Because we don't remember anything.
Don't remember anything. Thank you, fucking fact-checking machine. Thank you.
I cannot look for that.
Yeah, I'm talking about the machine. You shouldn't have to punch keys for it to give us the. Anyway, I'm ranting. Anyway, so the baby in the end. I've heard this. I think it's the most. I don't know. Common ground theory that's a hint at where humans came from and inevitably are going back to. Okay, so we came from the stars, and we're supposed to go back to the stars. I think it comes full circle. Star baby.
Star baby?
Star child.
Star child.
Jesus, the star child. God damn. Anyway, English is not our first language, people. Okay. Yeah. Anyway.
No, senor.
So yeah, that's what I think about. It's a good point between comparing the end of 2001 and the end of Interstellar, given that I was criticizing the fact that it became too personal. That's a good point. However, I think that okay, here's another way of looking at it. What 2001 does for me as a member of the audience, it puts me in that position. So yes. It puts me in the pilot seat doing that trip with him, because there's one guy there and there's one of me here.
Yes.
So I'm put in that position. The problem with Arrival and the problem with Interstellar is that it's specifically that family.
That family, okay.
I cannot put myself in their shoes because there are too many there's too many variables that have nothing to do with me.
Okay.
I don't have a daughter. I don't live in the country. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
right?
I know exactly what you mean.
So there you go. Maybe that's what it is, and it's very clean. With Kubrick, it was always everything was clean in a certain respect. He was very gory, but he did it in a very clean way, I think. So it's clean enough that I can see myself in that position. That's what it is.
Yeah, cool.
That's what it is. All right.
Just one thing.
Yeah.
For example.
Don't go away, people. We still have the bonus thing.
Just another type of sci-fi with a lot of action and adventure. I went to see this movie with you. Do you remember Live, Die, Repeat, Edge of Tomorrow with Tom Cruise?
Oh, yeah.
For me, it was a great surprise and a really pretty solid movie.
It was a solid movie.
Yeah,
it was a solid movie.
And it's
can't remember the ending though. They go into a cave where there are creatures, right?
Well, it all turned out okay. Yes.
Of course.
They go to Paris or something like that, where's the center of the alien invasion or something like the HQ of the.
Yeah,
I don't know.
Yeah.
Cool movie.
The Hive.
Yeah. Cool movie, and then a different take on.
Yeah, there's a different
sci-fi.
take. Yeah, it has nothing to do with. I mean, it has to do. Maybe it has to do with space. It certainly has to do with invading creatures of some sort that want to overtake mankind or somehow. Sure, it has a lot of technology, but it uses that technology to convey a premise which is very interesting. What if you could live the same day over and over again? Well, it's been done before, but again, it's not about coming up with completely original stories. It's coming up with completely original ways of telling these stories, and I think it made that.
Okay.
So yeah, I think that's a. I'm trying to think why I can't remember the ending. Maybe it wasn't that powerful though.
No, it wasn't powerful. It was an action flick, a sci-fi action flick, but it was
an enjoyable one.
A really enjoyable.
Yeah,
enjoyable
it was.
One.
Yeah, it was
because of Tom Cruise as well.
Yeah, Tom Cruise, and honestly, Emily Blunt was. Really
Emily
good.
Blunt is really great in that.
Yeah,
movie.
she's really good in that movie. I think she's potentially a really good actress. What I what I think, and I hope I'm wrong, people. I really, please tell me I'm wrong, but I'm starting to think that she's starting to use acting crutches, if you know what I mean, like these go-to places. She's becoming too.
Isn't she Lois Lane?
No. You mean
Who's doing Lois Lane?
Jeez. You mean Zack Snyder's?
No.
Lois Lane?
Yes.
No. That's no. So Emily Blunt has nothing to do with.
No,
Superman
it's
universe.
not. No.
You're talking about Amy Adams.
Amy
who was
Adams.
in Arrival.
Yeah.
So yeah, I don't know, but you know what? I think Emily Blunt did a fantastic job in Looper. She was amazing in Looper.
Yeah.
She was like a single mother of
another sci-fi movie.
Yeah, another sci-fi movie.
Yeah.
That if you want to make it personal, that's how you do it.
That's how you do it.
You are the hero and the villain at the same time.
Exactly.
That's how you fucking do it. Because it's not too personal. You started this trip with him. It's supposed to be personal.
Exactly.
So you are not handed a fake ending by making it personal. You already knew it was personal from the get-go. Yeah. So it's good. That's a good way of making it personal. Yeah. And she did a really good job. She was a single mother, living in the country, trying to get away from everybody, and she did it in a way that you can put yourself in those shoes. Yeah. This is exactly what I would have done probably if I had that kind of a child.
I do agree, yeah.
So that's a good movie. I rewatched it recently. It has one of the most horrific horror scenes I've seen lately, which is when they want to capture Paul Dano's character.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Man.
I wasn't expecting that in that movie, man.
I wasn't expecting them to go that far.
Yeah.
And they did. And that's what happens when you take a premise to its full extent. I was creeping out in my chair the whole time, and I loved it.
Yeah, that's fuck.
It's fucked up. And the way that, it's Paul Dano. It's not your run-of-the-mill, barista that just got his first gig. This is
Paul Dano.
It's Paul Dano, who's a really good fucking actor. Yeah. And you use that character that way. You don't care about the actor. You care about the story. And I'm sure he was really happy with how it turned out because it was true to the story. Yeah. What I mean is, if I can see other directors, less bold directors, making a big issue of killing one of their main actors.
Oh yeah,
but this guy didn't. That's what the story asked for. That's what he got. That's it.
You remember Psycho and Hitchcock?
Yeah, right? Yeah. Killed Jennifer Lee 30 minutes into the movie, and where is that directed today? I don't know. But yeah, great movie as well.
Should we go to our last topic or?
Yeah, you mean the bonus topic?
The bonus.
I think it's time for a bonus topic, people. Yeah. So here we go. Bonus topic. Get ready.
It's next to you.
I know. Let the thing come. All right. I'm picking it up right now. Man, wait a minute. I kind of bumped my microphone here. I'm not a professional. I don't know what I'm doing. Okay. So it's me taking it out of the bonus jar.
Yeah, today is you.
Okay. Here's me. This is me scrambling the bonus jar.
You're just scratching your balls.
Yeah, but don't tell people. God damn it. Okay, here's the first attempt.
Careful.
Yeah. Okay, so I was just destroying your studio here. Okay. So this is the first attempt. Remember the last time when we had to take two out? It's one of mine.
Okay.
All right. But this is kind of it's very serendipitous, is what it is, because this is asking. Here's what I'm going to do from now on. The person introducing the bonus topic is going to be a very polite Englishman, if you don't mind. So here it is, for Bruno and Antonio.
Yes, Governor.
What are your favourite monster films and why? All right, thank you, Englishman from out of nowhere. Yeah.
That's one of mine, man.
That's one of yours?
Yeah, I wrote
Is this your handwriting?
I wrote that today, man.
Oh man, we have really similar handwriting.
Let me see.
Dude, this looks like my handwriting.
I know, this is your... I had the same idea, but this is yours.
Damn.
Yeah. Fuck.
Yes, we are sharing. We are one step away from sharing a brain. Actually, a lot of our ex-girlfriends said, "Oh, if you could just find another guy like you, we would probably be one whole boyfriend."
Fuck. Well, favorite monster.
Okay, so favorite monster films. Just to remind you both, favorite monster films and why. All right, thank you again, Englishman. Stop interrupting, please. You know your place.
Okay, The Thing, for example.
The Thing is one of your favorite monster films.
One of
Okay.
that. Not because of the monster, but because of the whole thing. And the monster is something really important there, but it's not, and it's really horrible to look at. But it's one of my favorite monster films. But if you want to go classical, let's go there.
Wait a minute. We have a caller.
Okay.
Am I seeing it correctly? Oh yeah, it's a caller.
Yeah.
Okay, let me just punch this up.
Okay.
Yeah, caller. You're on the air.
Hello.
Hello?
Yeah. Go ahead. You're on the
go
air
ahead.
with us.
Oh, hi. Hey. First things first, I'm a sound engineer out of Austin, Texas, and I was just curious. You guys mentioned something about the sound in THX, and I love that movie. I followed George Lucas's career for a long time, and I think it's a great movie. But I don't remember exactly how. Is there anything that it did that was like groundbreaking in sound? Because I just never heard of such a thing. And again, this one's for Bruno. What did you think of the score between, the difference between, because I watched both. I watched the short film and the feature. What do you think of the differences in the soundtrack for both? So that's my question, and God bless you. And Bruno, I'm a big fan of your music, and looking forward to the next one, guys.
All right, thank you for that very elaborate and interesting question. So, hey, I wish we had more callers like this. What do you say? This is thank you. I forgot to ask you your name, but keep up the great work.
Let's call him George Bush because George W. Bush.
Was it George Bush?
Yeah,
what if it
sounded
was
like that, man?
He's retired, so he probably has nothing to do back at the ranch. So I don't know. So you want to? What was the first question?
The first question is I think it was tailored for you.
The sound. Okay. So this was So THX. If you have the chance, you gotta first of all, caller, please find the THX 1138 feature film DVD. It has both. You probably have this, I don't know, but it has both the short film and the feature film, and it has a lot of extras that
it has a short film as well.
I think so.
Okay,
I watched both, but I can't remember if it was the same DVD. I think so. Anyway, it has so many extras. You're going to learn a lot, not especially. You're going to learn a lot anyway. Here's a couple of things that you're going to learn. One of them is sound design. It has so many hints and so many. It's like you're going into. It's like a course in sound design. Just watching those
and
extras.
Foley as well.
And Foley and everything. Okay, but here's something you probably didn't know. The word Wookiee, which is the name that we now know, is the definite. Well, it's the name of Chewbacca's race. He's a Wookiee. The first time that word appeared was actually in THX 1138, the feature film, because all that chatter, that electronic chatter that's going around the entire film. They hired actors to just spitball, and that's what they put coming out of the speakers. And at one time, one of the actors was ad-libbing, and he said, "Was that a Wookiee out there? Was that a Wookiee I saw?" Not even the actor knew what he was talking about. He just came to him, and so that's where Wookiee came from. But now, going back to your question, there is a lot to go through in terms of sound design in that movie, but I'm just going to talk to you about one thing that we hinted at before, which is the motorcycle sound. So the sound designer, Walter, go and fact check, please. I can't remember the last name, but he was the sound designer in the Star Wars franchise, the first one, the main one, and probably the only one, the first original episodes. He's a really good sound designer, and he's the kind of person who thinks out of the box. So how does he come up with that ear-piercing sound of the motorcycles in that chase through the tunnel? Here's why. He tried a lot of things. He tried grinding metal together. I don't remember. He just tried a lot of machinery sounds and all sorts of things. And he couldn't quite find the organic pitch that he wanted, the organic high pitch that he wanted for those bicycles. So he thought, I need to think outside the box. And one day, he was going to the production offices for a meeting. I don't know. I can't remember exactly the details, but here's how it went down. He realized when he went to the bathrooms that the bathrooms were all made, from the floors and the walls were all tile. and he noticed that the sound was very different there. It kind of bounced off between those tiles, and it made an interesting echo. So here's what he did. He went back into the offices. He called in as many secretaries, female secretaries, or administrative assistants, if you want me to tell you. So he went in and he took them into the bathrooms, and he asked them to scream really loud. And they did. They went, ah. And he said, no, higher pitch. Ah. No, higher pitch. And he just kept telling them higher pitches until it came to this point. It was ear piercing, and it just the sound of like 20 women screaming in as high pitch as they could inside of a tiled bathroom. That's the sound of the motorcycles in THX 1138.
That's amazing. Was it Walter Murch?
Yes, Walter Murch.
Yeah.
I thought I had his name wrong. I was going back and forth between Murch and Murtaugh, but Murtaugh is from another completely different franchise, Lethal Weapon. So yeah.
About the music, about the soundtrack. I don't recall the soundtrack of the short film.
Mm-hmm.
I do recall the soundtrack of the movie itself by Lalo Schifrin. I don't know if you guys know about this, but that's the guy who composed the theme from Mission Impossible for the original series, and I really enjoyed that.
Yeah, he's a great composer. So what do you think of the difference?
That's the thing. I don't remember the music from the short film.
The short film.
Yeah,
it was very atmospheric.
Yeah. Well. Then there's a lot of similar things with the feature film.
With
yes.
the feature film, yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
All right.
We should talk more about the sci-fi and, for example, District 9, and but on another podcast.
Another podcast. If you wanna give us specific sci-fi topics that we wanna hear us talk about and discuss, and feel free to send us messages and emails. All the links are down below. And if you find our phone number, of course, call in at any time.
And a thing.
Yeah.
Another thing, if you have any, we're not liking ideas, obviously, but if you want us to talk about something movie related, music related and stuff like that, just let us know. And we will talk about that.
We have a lot of things on our plate, but we're always looking forward to more. So going back to the monster films, you talked about The Thing. The Thing is a great monster flick. I think it's one of the best.
Not the monster itself, but the monster movie.
The monster movie, yeah, but it's one of the best. Now, excuse me, what was the question again?
What are your favorite monster films?
Right, thank you. Okay, so monster films, so not just one.
Do you consider a vampire monster?
Yeah, of course you do. Yeah.
Ah, fuck.
So, no, monster films. That's why I was asking, because it's plural. It's not singular. So here's one of mine. Maybe because it's fresh in my head, and I just rewatched some things about the film recently. Monster Squad. Monster
really?
Squad from the 1980s. Man, I love that movie. I remember being a kid and wanting to be in a monster squad. I wanted to go out and find, Frankenstein and Dracula, and I love that. It's oh man, it's just a great movie. It's all around just entertaining. It's a really down to its core, a teen 80s movie. Well, not preteen, but early teen. That's what I mean. Early teen 80s movies where you see all the glamour, all the glamorous adventures that you would have with your friends, and the gritty adventures you would have with your friends when there was no technology, going back to that point. Exactly, but anyway, that's one of my favorites.
I know another one of your favorites as well, because it's one of mine from that time. Teen Wolf.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Not the series, for fuck's sake, but the movie. Yeah.
No. You just said that, not the series, as if you were running away from a rattlesnake that was about to hit. You're right. Not the series. The series has nothing to do with the movie.
Well, maybe in the beginning it's more like.
Yeah, because the guy's named Scott.
Yeah. Okay. No. You know what I mean? It gets a lot worse in the
second episode,
third. Okay.
Maybe it's halfway through the first.
It's bad
I know what you mean.
Yeah,
I know what you mean. It's really bad from the start, but it tries to be.
But they had
faithful.
to give that take that nowadays take of everyone's a monster or everyone's a superhero or everyone's or Team Jake, Team Edward, Team Fuck Yourself in the S with the Cactus. I don't know. Sorry about that.
Right, your therapist, I think, wants to call you. I think your phone's ringing. Yeah, so we have The Thing, Monster Squad, Teen Wolf, and here's another one that I know you love as well. And bear in mind, we're talking about monster movies, not just horror films. We're talking about monster movies in general. Here we go. Tremors.
Ah,
man,
that was amazing and so simple.
Yeah,
really simple.
Yeah.
Just huge worms,
underground worms,
middle of the desert, isolation.
Isolation, exactly. Yeah.
With
Kevin Bacon,
yes, and
Bob Ward.
Amazing. And that really simple story, and man.
Oh man, it was such
I loved it.
It was such a thrill ride, wasn't it?
You know what? I'm going to see that.
Yeah, that's what I mean. I watched it not recently, like I don't know, 3-4 years ago. I watched it again, and it's so cool. It's so cool. I mean, the way it starts, the buddy flick. It's a buddy flick where there are a lot of two main buddies, but then the whole village. It's a small village in the desert, so everybody's a buddy, and they all have. It's so believable.
And they have to be on the fucking roof, otherwise
you're fucked.
And that reminds me of Dune.
Dune, the worms from Dune.
Yeah, but that
has nothing. Yeah,
that has nothing to do.
Apart from the worms, there's nothing. But here's a line that I've always loved, and me and my brother used to say that line over and over again. Yeah. When I forget the name of the actor. He was also in Family Ties. Michael J. Fox's father from
Father?
Yeah, the father. He was in Tremors, right?
Yeah.
So he was that gun freak. He had all sorts of guns, and him and his wife, those huge elephant weapons that they used to kill the slugs. So he finally kills one. Everybody else is on the roof thinking that he's dead. He and his wife are dead. They just hear the shots, and then they hear through the radio, "We got one!" And then Kevin Bacon goes, "Go again, Bert." And he goes, "We got a mother humper." And Kevin Bacon says, "All right, listen, heads up, Bert. There are 2 more. I repeat, 2 more mother humps. Mother humps."
Mother humps.
I love that line, man.
Yeah, it's a simple.
Oh, it's so fucking great, that movie. If you haven't watched it, watch Tremors. Another one. Give me one.
Another one. Fuck. If you're going to the 50s, 60s, and 80s,
anything.
Okay, let's talk about this. This would be another topic about vampires, but the Francis Ford Coppola one.
Oh, Bram Stoker's Dracula.
Yeah, Bram Stoker's Dracula.
Oh,
for me, incredible.
That's a masterpiece.
If that's a monster, yes.
Yeah,
and you do have monsters there.
Not
you have only Dracula.
No, but vampires are monsters.
Yeah, but for me, it's spectacular.
Yeah, it's spectacular, definitely.
And
it's my turn.
Yeah.
Okay, so it's my turn. There are so many. I guess you could call Lord of the Rings a monster film, but I'm not going to. But it's muddy waters.
You know what? Gremlins.
Gremlins was a good one.
Yeah. It's a comedy. It's a comedy. Dark comedy.
It's a dark comedy.
You know that they're thinking of making a new one.
Okay, that's all for today.
That's all for today. Yes.
No, really?
No. Fuck yeah.
CGI, I guess.
I don't fucking care. Who fucking cares anymore? Okay, so another great
Critters.
So is it my turn? Or is it your fucking turn? Can I please get a turn? God damn it.
Let's ask the Englishman.
Oh, I'm afraid it's actually Antonio's turn, Bruno.
Fuck you.
Well, thank you, Mr. Englishman from out of nowhere. God damn. Okay, so it's my turn. Here's another monster flick that I really love. I forget its name. I forget the fucking name. That's what you get when you mess.
Tell me a hint.
It was with it's a werewolf flick.
That from the 80s? Werewolf in somewhere, London.
God damn it! No, I didn't mean that one, but I prefer that one.
Yeah, I know that you like that one. Yeah,
Werewolf in London. God damn it! Fucking great
really
movie.
Cool. Really
I wasn't
cool
talking about that one. I was talking about one.
I know the one with Jack Nicholson.
Fuck! It's the second fucking wolf movie that. Yes, those two.
So sorry.
I wanted to say those two.
Yes, it's actually he didn't interrupt you, so he gets the.
I can't take a point out. Oh, yes, thank you, fucking Englishman. Okay, so those two are really good. The Wolf, I just watched recently, and it's one of the best movies ever. but I'm actually talking about. Okay.
I'm not going to say anything. Right
Who? What's the name of the actor that now escapes me? That was Keanu Reeves' partner in
the one in the phone booth.
Oh God!
Movie?
Damn it! No, man. Why do we keep drawing blanks? What the fuck is the fucking machine?
This should be Alzheimer's show.
Ruptura Total.
Ruptura Total.
That's the name in Portuguese.
Yeah.
Ruptura Total.
Patrick Swayze.
Patrick Swayze, Keanu Reeves, and the other guy, the blonde guy.
Patrick Swayze.
No, the partner, not the villain, the partner.
Gary Busey.
Gary Busey. Yes.
Fuck. This was. I just wrote the name.
That's Gary Busey.
I just threw the name.
Gary Busey is actually in a werewolf flick from the 80s, and that movie is really
Are you sure
cool.
it's Gary Busey?
I
Because
am pretty fucking sure it's Gary Busey.
Because
You can't
80s
mistake
blonde
Gary
guy-
Busey.
Really?
Yeah.
But which movie? Do you remember the name?
I
of
don't
the
remember
movie?
the title, but it's a really good movie. But
Okay.
anyway, we talked about a lot of good movies here. So watch Werewolf in London, American Werewolf in London. Watch
Wolf.
Wolf with Jack
With Jack
Nicholson and
Nicholson.
Michelle Pfeiffer. It's one of the best movies you're going to see. And James Spader. He's
James
really
Spader,
good there.
brilliant there. Yeah.
And this one with Gary Busey, we'll leave a link down in
yeah.
the description. But again, it's one of those 80s flicks that you gotta watch. It's not like Monster Squad. It's not lightweight. You know, it's not like as light as. It's a little dark, but it's really cool. It's really cool. And Gary Busey plays the uncle.
Okay.
The uncle of a kid. Here's the premise. He's the uncle of a kid who's in a wheelchair. The kid loves his uncle. The uncle loves his kid. It's just a really good bond. It's a friendship between them.
They live together?
No, but
Okay.
the uncle has to take care of the kid while the parents are away or something.
Okay.
And lo and behold, one of them is a werewolf.
One of them.
Yeah, I'm not gonna say which one.
Okay. Cool.
It's really good. It's really good,
Okay.
man. All right. So,
Yeah.
what do you say, Englishman?
It's actually past my my time, so I'm afraid I have to go.
Thank you. Why do we fucking pay that guy? So yeah, it's actually past the time, so we need to go. But love talking to you guys and love talking to you, man.
Yeah.
You're my bro.
The same.
Yeah. Okay. So yeah, hit you on the flip side and see you the next time.
Hit that
Well, the subscribe. You mean
subscribe, the
yeah.
like button, and the bell, please.
And the bell if you're watching on YouTube. Yeah.
And say something. Tell us what you think about this, and let us know what.
Let us know if there's any topics we haven't
Yeah.
discussed today. We could have discussed today,
Yeah.
and maybe we'll touch upon them on the next one. Don't forget Instagram, Twitter, all that shit. We're on all social media things because we have to, but it's really good to learn to hear from you guys there. So
Yeah, and-
hit us up on that
And go watch our audio tales. It's just here on YouTube or wherever you're
wherever you are listening. That's where it
go
is.
go take
A sneak
peek.
listen.
Yeah, to our audio tales.
Yeah, check us out. By the way, we are going to be in Weiterstadt, Germany,
Yeah.
this coming August from the
7th to 13th.
well, actually,
to 12th.
let's just say 8 to 12 because 7 we travel in and 13 we travel out.
Yeah.
So yeah, we're going to be from the 8th to the 12th in Weiterstadt.
Yeah.
Am I correct?
Exactly.
Okay, so that's where we because one of our audio tales was selected for the film festival there. It's like the Woodstock of film festivals. It's really cool. We camp out,
Yeah.
we watch films outside. Really great people from all around the world.
Digital 8
filmmakers.
millimeters.
Yeah,
everything.
8 millimeters, 35 millimeters.
Great sausages.
The great sausages, the bratwurst, but also the
Yeah.
other kind of wurst.
Ja.
Yeah, very good.
Ja,
And,
wunderbar.
wunderbar, sehr gut. And so yeah, hit us up on there. And if you're listening to this podcast and you happen to be there at the time, don't be afraid. We don't bite hard, but
Yeah.
we do love a chat. So meet us up, hit us up on any social network, and let us know what you think and any comments on the future episodes.
Okay, so see you.
All right, this is us signing out, you bastards. See you later.
See you later.
Hey, you bastard. Did you know we do a lot more than podcasts? What, you don't believe me? Check out these 2 videos. Still here, huh? Well, then I dare you to click that subscribe button. What are you, chicken? Do it! And hit that like button and the bell while you're at it. See you soon.